What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories.
3VC 051 Lai Mu's video plays. Marineford explodes. 051 Lai Mu's video plays. Marineford explodes. Time quickly came to the day when the Admiral waiting list was announced. At this time, all the Marine soldiers in Marineford gathered in the huge square and lined up in formations. A high stage was set up at the scene, and the scene was filled with joy. Because they know that the Admiral waiting list will be announced today. This is a very important thing for Naval Headquarters. In other words, this is a shuffle of rules within Marine, and it will become clear who to mix with in the future. It can be said that the thighs and leg hair of top experts like Sengoku Admiral and Kong have been bald by previous generations of students, and they can no longer get along well with each other. Now that you are on your own, they will no longer pay attention to you. The Admiral candidate is the future structure of Naval Headquarters. In a few years, they will be the Admiral of Headquarters, and their power will be limitless. If you hug the future Admiral's thigh at this time, then the future will be easier to negotiate. This posture. If Lai Mu had seen it, he would have thought that the Summit War had started in advance. Because, this is where the Summit War took place. At this time, all the non-commissioned officers of the Marine Department had arrived. Marshal Kong, who had a mohawk hair, took the main seat and announced that the alternate admiral was Sengoku Admiral, Zephyr Admiral, Vice Admiral Garp, Akainu Vice Admiral, and others all stood on the main stage. The highest combat power of Naval Headquarters is gathered together. Sengoku climbed onto the high platform, holding 4 important documents in his hands. Here, there are 3 resumes of admiral candidates. The remaining one is the report on the naval battle of 8 Wall. Naval Headquarters has always had requirements for the news media, which the headquarters calls controlling fishing boats, but for the soldiers of the headquarters, Naval Headquarters has an obligation to tell them some of the true things. Facing Sengoku on the stage, Akainu showed confidence. 8 Wall's great victory in the naval battle and the disintegration of the Golden Lion pirates at a very small cost added to his glory. In addition to the military achievements he had accumulated in the Naval Headquarters, combined with his strong strength, who else could take this admiral alternate position if it wasn't my own? Kizaru is as wretched as ever, and he is capable and capable. He has already found out the information through his network. He doesn't know who else will be the admiral candidate, but he will definitely be selected. Anyway, it is almost the same. Compared to Sengoku announcing the result, he was more concerned about the salary. Kizaru was a little confused. Although he was so smart, he just didn't know how to be greedy and could only live on his salary. Marine is so boring. Aokiji was still recovering in the hospital and did not arrive at the scene, which made some admirers in the audience worried. At this time, Sengoku stepped onto the battlefield and spoke to the tens of thousands of soldiers in the audience. I announce that the person who has received the admiral waiting list this time is Akainu Sakazuki, Kizaru Porisalino, Aokiji Kuzan. The following are the honors they received at Naval Headquarters. Bala, Sengoku talked a lot for an entire hour. After talking about the military merits and achievements accumulated by the 3 people, warm applause broke out immediately, and cheers from the soldiers echoed throughout Marineford. Sakazuki, Porisalino, Kuzan. No one will be dissatisfied with this result. Because Akainu, Kizaru, and Aokiji have made many achievements in Naval Headquarters, others are far behind. When you compare yourself, you can't beat or compare. Everyone believes that in the future, under the leadership of the 3 people, Naval Headquarters will be even more powerful. For 10 minutes, Marineford was drowned in a tsunami of cheers. After the cheers ended, Sengoku began to talk about the report on the naval battle of 8 Wall. This is the most important thing after the announcement of the admiral waiting list. The Battle of 8 Volume was a great achievement for Naval Headquarters, perhaps only rivaled by the Battle of the Valley of the Gods. Of course, the difficulty of the two is not at the same level, and the degree of confidentiality is not at the same level. At that time, Naval Headquarters did not publicize the Battle of the Valley of the Gods. So much so that many people now don't know what happened back then. At this time, Golden Lion's reputation was already one of the strongest in the ocean after rocks. Solving the hidden danger of the Golden Lion pirates is also a great achievement for the entire Naval Headquarters. It can effectively enhance the prestige of the Naval Headquarters, so it will naturally be widely publicized. In addition, as long as 8 Wall covers it up a little, it won't be a secret at all. Therefore, names that cannot be mentioned in news reports will be mentioned one by one this time. For the rest of the time, Sengoku begins to narrate the naval battle of 8 Volume. This time at the Battle of 8 Wall, our Naval Headquarters also suffered losses. We lost an outstanding soldier. His name is Lai Mu. In the past few days, Lai Mu's name has been spreading a lot. Some said that he went missing after chasing the Golden Lion. Some said that Lai Mu and the Golden Lion died together, and the body may have floated to Sky Island. In short, Lai Mu is closely related to the naval battle of 8 Wall. Prior to this, the headquarters ordered that no soldiers who participated in the Battle of 8 Wall could be mentioned. So much so that the rest of the people were curious about what happened. But everyone knows one thing, that is, Marine soldiers are not a safe job. There are many people who cannot come back from missions, and Lai Mu is probably in danger. Now that Sengoku mentioned it, it must have attracted Lai Mu to make an important contribution to the mission. It made people K up their ears and listen. Lai Mu, a recruit who joined the army in July this year. In the Battle of Kara Island, facing the Golden Lion, he had the courage to stand in front of the stage and start a decisive battle with the Golden Lion. In the end, with the efforts of everyone at Naval Headquarters, he defeated the Golden Lion and captured the Golden Lion's double sword Sakura Ju. Mu Ku received military merit and was promoted to Naval Headquarters Rear Admiral. He is the record holder for the fastest promotion to Rear Admiral since the establishment of Naval Headquarters. After passing the potential test, he is already an advanced observation hockey user, a top armament hockey user, his fruit development has reached a high level, and he is a rare swordsman in Naval Headquarters. Hearing what Sengoku said, the soldiers in the headquarters all thought of Lai Mu's victory over the T-Dolphin Rear Admiral on the test field. On the training ground, there was a back and forth with Zephyr Admiral. A series of performances indicate that Lai Mu's strength is not simple. But it is such a strong headquarters Vice Admiral. Why was it lost during the naval battle of 8 Wall? In the Battle of 8 Wall, Lai Mu used gravity to summon meteorites to fall from the sky and destroy the Golden Lion's main ship. He also fought against the Golden Lion at an altitude of 10,000 meters, and finally completely knocked down the Golden Lion's main ship. With Golden Lion's Lion Fruit ability, there is only one reason why the ship can crash, and that is that Golden Lion completely loses its ability to move. It is our marine victory. This is the video and audio recorded by the phone bug at that time. Declaration. Marine is righteous and Sengoku is bound to do so. Therefore, Marine's glorious side must be fully displayed. As the recorded video played, the entire square exploded. 052. Shock Marineford. Lai Mu's reputation soars. 052. Shock Marineford. Lai Mu's reputation soars. Lai Mu not only analyzed the specific location of the Battle of 8 Wall, but also came up with a way for us to pursue the Golden Lion in the storm. During the battle, he summoned meteorites from the sky to make the Golden Lion flee in panic. The following is the recording of the conversation between Lai Mu and me. Lai Mu's life and death are uncertain, and he is completely out of touch. His mouth is on Sengoku's face. In order to boost the morale of the soldiers, he can blow whatever he wants at this moment. Sizzle. Pulu pulu pulu. As the recording played, it quickly became clear that this was a call between Sengoku Admiral and Lai Mu. Sengoku's voice. Lai Mu, where are you now? I can no longer see the situation on your side. Military achievements are important, but there is no need to risk your life. You quickly return to the warship and stand by. This is Admiral the command. Lai Mu's voice. Sengoku Admiral, I have caught up with the Golden Lion. I found that he was seriously injured, it is a good opportunity to capture him. I have reached a position 10,000 meters away from the sea, the wind is too strong for me to hear I don't know, that's it, Sengoku Admiral. Zzz. Then the call ended. Upon hearing this conversation, the soldiers at the scene were shocked. Obviously, everyone at the scene heard the whistling sound of the phone, which was undoubtedly 10,000 meters high in the air. It is true. It turned out that Lai Mu Rear Admiral played a major role in this operation. Lai Mu's suggestions allowed the warships to find the position for naval battles, and even allowed the warships to operate in the storm, and finally destroyed the Golden Lion pirates and allowed Naval Headquarters to achieve such achievements. Later, Lai Mu actually refused Sengoku Admiral's retreat order. He directly chose to fight the Golden Lion at an altitude of 10,000 meters. This kind of courage is not something ordinary people can compare with. Moreover, it was 10,000 meters high in the sky. Wouldn't Lai Mu be afraid? For Lai Mu, the demon fruit power, falling 10,000 meters above the sea means death. What's more, facing the Golden Lion that can fly, this kind of courage cannot be described in words. Did not think of. As long as Marine needs it, Lai Mu, a newly recruited recruit, really dares to join the army. Even if the opposite side is thousands of meters high in the sky, even if it is a mountain of swords and a sea of fire, he will not hesitate. Suddenly, all the soldiers in the square were calling Lai Mu's name. Now, after hearing Lai Mu's last call, Mammoth couldn't bear it anymore and felt sad. Lai Mu, why are you so stupid? Immediately afterwards, Sengoku played the video again. In the picture, Sengoku jumped into the air with a shunpo, and caught the phone bug falling from the air with one hand. The number of the phone bug was clearly visible, and it was undoubtedly Lai Mu Rear Admiral. The sky in the picture is cloudless, which once again confirms that Lai Mu was at an invisible altitude of 10,000 meters. What follows is a scene of the entire Golden Lion main ship falling. The pirate ship's falling speed and impact felt like it was indeed falling from 10,000 meters above the ground. At this moment, all the marine soldiers were moved. At this moment, all the soldiers were completely ignited with enthusiasm. At this moment, Lai Mu's reputation in Naval Headquarters is unprecedentedly high. This time, Lai Mu fought alone and saved the face of Naval Headquarters. Lai Mu is the most dazzling hero in the naval battle of 8 Wall. He fought alone against the great pirate Golden Lion at an altitude of 10,000 meters, and tried his best to shoot down Golden Lion's ship. This achievement can be used as a qualification to become a candidate for the Admiral of Headquarters. But at this moment, everyone knows that there is no Lai Mu in Naval Headquarters. On the high platform, the more Mammoth listened, the more her heart trembled. Her eyelashes trembled slightly, and she couldn't bear to listen. At this point, Sengoku loudly made his final comments. Our Naval Headquarters lost a future Marine Admiral in the Battle of 8 Volume. His military exploits in this battle can no longer be counted. His name is Lai Mu, he is a qualified recruit warrior with a sense of justice. Sengoku's heavy voice fell. The shouts of thousands of soldiers in the audience were completely unbearable. The name of Lai Mu resounds throughout Marineford. Lai Mu, Lai Mu, Lai Mu, Lai Mu, Lai Mu, Lai Mu. Dot 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 dot. At this time, Marineford's boiling caused the entire sea surface to tremble slightly, and the sound waves were transmitted to the bottom of the sea. Lai Mu, who was almost arriving at the port, seemed a little confused when he heard the loud noise. Okay, Marineford is having a party. Why is it that it's like a pyramid scheme? Everyone seems to be pumped. We've already arrived at Marineford. We need to think about it carefully and make up some excuse to ignore the fact that we imprisoned the Golden Lion. And also at this time. Ding. You have earned Marine Rear Admiral Mammoth 250,000 tragic attention points. Ding. You got Marine Admiral Sengoku 200,000 attention points. Ding. You have gained Marine Marshal Kong 300,000 attention points. Ding. Ding. You have obtained 800,000 attention points from all the soldiers in the headquarters. Ding. You have accumulated 3.01 million attention points, which is enough for 3 diamond pointer lottery chances. At the same time, if you are willing, you can replace the lottery opportunity with a purchase opportunity. The Diamond Award plate will refresh 30 top-level rewards, including a special reward. By spending 3 million points, you can exchange for any 3 rewards. Replacement. Special reward. Seeing this, Lai Mu suddenly became excited. 053. The ultimate reward. Top Shanghai. A pirate ship suddenly surfaced. 053. The ultimate reward. Top Shanghai. A pirate ship suddenly surfaced. The sound on the harbor was loud, and on the bottom of the sea, Lai Mu happily began to watch the rewards. In the cabin, Lai Mu was exhausted from the journey and was dressed in rags, looking like someone abandoned on the battlefield. But his superficial state did not affect his mood at the moment at all. After a brief look, Lai Mu didn't find any amazing skills. He summarized his current trump cards. Gravity Fruit. Medium Observation Hockey. Top Armament Hockey. Iron Giant Physique. The swordsmanship of the great swordsman of the Edo Ryu style. Mangekyo Kamui. Therefore, in order to make up for his shortcomings, he set his sights on the Top Conqueror's Hockey. As the most special ability in the world of pirates, Conqueror's Hockey has a wide range of applications. It can not only be used as a clearing skill to clear out the fish minions, but can also be used in actual combat, especially Conqueror's Entanglement, which can shake the sky to pieces. Therefore, Lai Mu's first reward was redeemed for Conqueror's Hockey. With the awakening of Conqueror's Hockey, Lai Mu's temperament changes and becomes more regal. At the same time, Lai Mu observed the second reward and fixed it on 6 Styles of Great Perfection. 6 Styles generally refers to Marine 6 Styles, which refers to 6 moves: Shave, Iron Body, Paper Arts, Moonwalk, Tempest Kick, and Finger Pistol. It is a physical technique that exceeds the limits of human physical ability. It is the strongest physical technique before it can be derived. The secret of the 6 Kings Spear is to clench both hands together and send out a shockwave-like attack, which is several times more powerful than the Sky Island Shock Shell. At the same time, when you master the advanced 6 postures, you will also master the skill, Return of Life, which allows you to freely control your body, hair, and internal organs. As long as you pour your consciousness into it, you can freely control anywhere. Return of Life is a bit like eating food. When food is gone, a large amount of energy is stored for later use by eating. Mastering the 6 postures and the 6 postures of Zochin are not the same concept at all. Possessing the 6 forms of Zochin means that Lai Mu's physical skills have become the best in the world. Lai Mu believes that even Garp, the representative of physical arts, may not necessarily reach the top level in everything. Moreover, the 6 style Zochin is quite consistent with the Iron Giant's physique, making it one of Lai Mu's biggest trump cards. After obtaining the 6 forms, Lai Mu's eyes were fixed on the special reward. Myriad Realms Physical Energy Replacement. You can use attention points to establish a connection with Myriad Realms Physical Energy, which can replace each other. The pure physical energy can effectively release the 10,000 Realms skills. Close Black Lens Bracket. Constitution Replacement is a special reward, so Lai Mu will naturally choose it. But he also knew the importance of this reward. Like most battles between strong men, they were calculated based on the number of days. It was normal to fight for 10 days and 10 nights. In such a long-lasting battle, physical exhaustion is a problem. But with this skill, Lai Mu no longer worries. Because, even during the battle, he can continue to gain attention points and gain physical strength. For example, damn it, this Lai Mu's Conquerors is so powerful. Attention increased. Can be replaced with physical strength. Damn it, another meteorite falls from the sky. Attention increased. Can be replaced with physical strength. Oops, Lai Mu is huge. The fighting power is too long-lasting. Attention increased. Can be replaced with physical strength. It can be said that with this skill, Lai Mu is equivalent to getting a blue buff that continuously restores mana. Now Lai Mu has the strength to challenge the top players in the sea, and the chance of losing is extremely low. It took off properly. Marineford's leaks are so awesome. As for the rewards that were not selected, there are 2 Logia Devil Fruits, 1 Paramesha Fruit, 1 Phantom Beast Fruit, and several Fire-style skills in Hokage. Lai Mu wants to make up for his shortcomings, plus none of these seem to have top-notch fruits, so he didn't choose them right away. He planned to make up for them when he had the opportunity in the future. The first priority was to go straight back to naval headquarters. Thinking like this, Lai Mu wore 4 famous swords on his waist. These 4 famous swords originally belonged to Golden Lion. Anyone who has fought against Golden Lion will see it at a glance. Immediately, Lai Mu piloted the pirate ship and began to rise. At the same time, the atmosphere in the square at the top of Marineford was lively, but as Sengoku raised his hand, the scene fell silent. Sengoku stood in front of the loudspeaker and said with unfinished meaning. Lai Mu Rear Admiral is the biggest contributor to the naval battle of 8 Wall. If he can come back safely, he will definitely become one of the admiral candidates. But unfortunately, we searched the waters of 8 Wall for 7 full days and could no longer find any news about him. This is a loss for our entire naval headquarters. I hope everyone will always remember this marine pacesetter. Quote. As Sengoku finished his summary, all the Marineford sergeants stood in awe. And at this time, with a burst of bubbling in the harbor, the atmosphere of Marineford was completely disrupted. In a harbor full of warships, under the attention of all Marineford officers, a pirate ship surfaced, and after the coating blew off, the pirate flag fluttered leisurely in the wind. There's a situation. Pirates are coming. This is Marineford. Which pirate has such courage? All aim. Tens of thousands of soldiers were staring at the pirate ship in the harbor, and many soldiers were already trying to get aboard. Kong Sengoku and others also frowned. Because this is not scientific. If a pirate group comes, they must be preparing for a decisive battle with naval headquarters. But there is a lonely pirate ship, and the pirate flag still has an unknown pattern. Could he be the vanguard of a top pirate group? Is it Whitebeard, or Roger, or the remnants of rocks? No matter what, if anyone dares to invade Marineford, naval headquarters will sink it immediately. Fire. Boom, boom, boom. In an instant, the artillery shot out sparks, and the sound of artillery fire resounded throughout the land, just like the eve of the war. At this time, dense cannonballs filled the sky and flew towards the pirate ship. At this time, a strong figure wearing rags on his upper body appeared on the bow of the ship. It doesn't seem like I'm welcome. Then, he casually pulled out a famous sword from his waist and waved it downwards gently. Gravity Knife Azure Dragon Pendant. In an instant, the cannonball still flying in the trajectory was pulled by gravity, fell straight down, and exploded on the sea. The water column generated by the explosion spread all over the harbor and became a giant fountain. On the high platform, Momosugi stared at the person on the bow with her beautiful eyes, covered her mouth and muttered, Lai Mu. 054. Zephyr takes action to snipe Lai Mu. Assist Lai Mu to become admiral. 054. Zephyr sniped Lai Mu. Assisted Lai Mu to become admiral. At this time, as Lai Mu easily withstood the first wave of Marines' artillery attack, the Marine soldiers were surprised. Naturally, these Marine soldiers knew immediately that the enemy was alone. Because there is no Marine uniform on Lai Mu, and many Marine soldiers did not remember Lai Mu's appearance, and based on the fact that he came out of a pirate ship, they thought he was a big pirate. They launched long-distance attacks one after another. But they were easily resisted by Lai Mu. Let everyone know the difference. We are no match for him. This person needs Admiral to stop him. The Marine soldiers were a little overwhelmed. They all looked at the Marine executives on the stage, waiting for Admiral's order. Sengoku observation haki unfolded and he could clearly see the appearance of the visitor. Although his clothes were ragged and his skin was not very clean, he could clearly see his face, which was Lai Mu. Seeing Lai Mu, Sengoku suddenly smiled happily. He is back. On the high platform, almost all the senior officials of the headquarters knew about this matter. Kizaru tilted his mouth, looking a little incredulous. After picking the dust from his nails, Kizaru said with a lewd expression, Yo yo yo, Lai Mu is amazing. He is back from the dead. Look at the 4 famous swords on his waist. They are the Sakura 10, and the Mu-ku, one of the 21 great swords. The Thunderstorm, one of the 21 great swords, and the 12 great swords, one of the authentic worldviews. These were originally the famous swords held by Golden Lion Shiki. It's amazing. He even pocketed the Golden Lion's sword. He really defeated the Golden Lion. Hey, I originally thought it was a fake. Under Kizaru's reminder, Sengoku and others also noticed this situation. They fought against Golden Lion at an altitude of 10,000 meters and captured all the swords of Golden Lion. They definitely took advantage of Golden Lion. Although Sengoku and others knew that Golden Lion was seriously injured when he was thrust into the rudder of the ship, defeating the seriously injured Golden Lion was not something ordinary people could do. Has Lai Mu really reached this point? He was able to defeat the Golden Lion, the king of the sky, in the sky. Akainu looked at this scene with a serious face. The appearance of Lai Mu gave him too much shock. Fortunately, Lai Mu's character fit well with his, but it's not a good thing if it's too strong. Marshal Kong looked at Sengoku, wondering how he would handle this matter. Because just before, Sengoku had already boasted Lai Mu to the sky, and even bluntly said that the deceased Lai Mu was the future Marine Admiral. If he could come back safely by any chance, Lai Mu's position would be the Marine Admiral candidate. Sengoku thought Lai Mu would never come back, so he said this to boost morale. It's good now. Lai Mu returned in a pirate ship. If you say it out loud, how do you keep it going? At this time, a tall figure appeared. Marshal Kong, Sengoku Admiral, can you order all Marine soldiers to stop? Mammoth was a little nervous. Now it has been confirmed that the person who came is Lai Mu. He is the hero of the Battle of 8 Wall. It is not easy to come back alive. The Lai Mu that the soldiers of the headquarters worship now is this ragged man. If he is attacked by the headquarters, it won't be good if you get injured. Hearing this, Sengoku nodded, prepared to worry about it later, and was about to speak. At this time, Zephyr Admiral stopped him and said, Sengoku, I haven't seen my apprentice for a long time. I'm going to check it out. Then, Zephyr Admiral made a few teleportations, crossed the high platform, and came to the square. Ha 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 ha. With laughter, FA Admiral moved closer to Lai Mu step by step. Although Zephyr never taught Lai Mu anything, he always recognized Lai Mu as his student. Just a few minutes ago, Lai Mu was even praised by Sengoku without hesitation on the stage, saying that Lai Mu was the #1 contributor to the Battle of 8 Wall and the future pillar of Marine. Although most of it is true, in the final analysis the reason is because he was killed in battle. Dead people can't speak, which makes it easier for people to believe. It's still the root of everything. But now that Lai Mu is back alive, the treatment is no longer the same as before. If Lai Mu wants to obtain actual benefits, he must undergo another review by the headquarters. If this delay continues, the Admiral candidates will have to wait until the next batch, and when will the next batch be? Therefore, taking this opportunity, Zephyr must let Lai Mu come up with some real materials for everyone to see. Everyone must understand that his strength is worthy of this military honor. He was the #1 hero in the naval battle of 8 Wall. Therefore, only by allowing Lai Mu to fully demonstrate his powerful strength can the expectations of all Marine soldiers be met. Isn't it the teacher's job to make the student's reputation famous throughout the sea? Zephyr Admiral takes action. This pirate is finished. One person dares to kill Marineford, not even Whitebeard can do it. Look, Zephyr Admiral is about to take action. On the square, the Marine soldiers voluntarily gave up the space. A battle at the Admiral combat power level was not something they, the little shrimps, could join in the fun of. What the hell is Zephyr up to? Sengoku muttered. But he soon figured it out. You spared no effort in the promotion of Aokiji and others before, are you going to do the same now? Zephyr, you'd better test out the real material of Lai Mu, otherwise it will be in vain. Sengoku was also thinking about this issue after meeting Lai Mu. There is no doubt that although Lai Mu's justice and strength are obvious to all, it is not a good thing to be promoted too quickly. Sengoku planned to discuss it later, but now it is too late. Because, Zephyr has already taken action. Witnessed by all the Marine soldiers, Zephyr Admiral threw away the cigar in his mouth, exhaled a breath of smoke, covered his arms with armed colors, and came to the front of the intruder. Looking at Lai Mu in front of him, his appearance has changed. There is no trace of Marine Rear Admiral in his body. Only in Lai Mu's brows can he see the same posture as before. Ha 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 ha. Good apprentice, I didn't expect to see you again. Teacher Zephyr, it seems that I am not welcome in this headquarters. Ha ha ha. It's enough for me to welcome you. There are legends about you circulating in this department now, but I don't know if it's true or not, so let me test it myself. Take the move. Zephyr Admiral ducked and was already in front of Lai Mu, followed by a punch. Relying on his knowledge, Lai Mu quickly moved out of the way, allowing Zephyr to miss. Quote exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark quote. But the shock wave that was sent out casually had already blasted a hole in the ground and filled the air with smoke and dust. Teacher Zephyr, I'm not ready yet. Lai Mu can guess what Zephyr is thinking, but attention is equally important. So in this battle, Lai Mu still needs to be prepared to perform well. After dodging aside, Lai Mu directly threw the 4 famous swords on the ground. At the same time, his hands were covered with armed colors. He rushed directly in front of Zephyr and began to fight with Zephyr using physical skills. The battle between the two went from the ground to the sky, so fast that only afterimages were left. Lai Mu now has the physique of a steel giant, as well as the strongest physical skills in armament hockey. He can also stack blue buffs crazily during battles. Even when facing a top powerhouse like Zephyr, Lai Mu is not weak at all. Razor. Iron body, shattered. Finger pistol steel Nanta. There is nothing fancy. Lai Mu has many moves, and with the 6 perfect moves, he has everything at his fingertips. He was not slow to react, and directly blocked it with his arms. Boom. Clang clang clang. The powerful forces collided together, and the resulting impact, centered on the two people, shattered all the ground within the Baikai range. Black arm ba fist. Zephyr used the powerful black arm to blast away at Lai Mu's chest. The moment the huge fist touched Lai Mu's skin, Lai Mu directly crossed his hands to resist the punch, making it difficult for him to make any further progress. At this time, the black arm fist had already struck Lai Mu's arm. There was no other way. Lai Mu quickly hardened his weapon color to defend. At the same time, the right foot has covered armament hockey and made a sweep directly. Gravity tempest kick wind cut. Zephyr was kicked out by a kick that exerted gravity, and was dragged on the ground for dozens of meters before he stabilized his body. Zephyr Admiral waved his arm, stared at Lai Mu and said with a smile, I didn't expect that after only a month of seeing you, you could use Marine 6 styles so skillfully, and I didn't teach you. As a teacher, I'm very good at it. What a dereliction of duty. Your gravity fruit has also become more and more mature. Soon, it will be the ocean for you young people. Ding. How much does Zephyr value you? You have gained 20,000 attention points to activate physical strength replacement. When your physical strength decreases, attention points will be used to make up for it, and you will gain inexhaustible physical strength. Close black lens bracket. When he saw the system reminder, Lai Mu exclaimed in his heart that he was so awesome. Fighting will consume the physical energy of both parties, but your own physical energy will be endless, which is simply like cheating. When you can't explain clearly, just say something randomly. I was lucky enough to grow up through the training of teacher Zephyr. After speaking, Lai Mu twisted his neck and wrist. Then there was a loud bang, and a big hole was made in the ground by Lai Mu. His whole body was like a super missile flashing with purple light and fire, and he punched Zephyr. Zephyr was surprised again and quickly defended himself. Although I am Black Arm Zephyr, my foot skills are not weak. At this time, Zephyr Admiral lifted one foot off the ground, formed a bow shape, and instantly ejected. Please give me flowers. When Lai Mu got closer, a kick wrapped in an armed color hit Lai Mu in the lower abdomen. However, between the lower abdomen, there was already an arm of Lai Mu covered in military color. As the two armed forces collided, a heavy clanking sound was made. At this moment, Lai Mu was not to be outdone, and also fought back with fists and kicks. Repeat the cycle. Boom 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 boom. Come again. The two of them exerted force at the same time, seemingly giving up on defense, hitting each other at the same time, and both flew backwards and through. At this moment, Marineford Square. Seeing how fierce the battle was, the collision of armed colors swept out a wave, causing some of the weaker marine soldiers to fly backwards because they couldn't bear it. The soldiers who were not affected quickly helped those who fell to the ground. While still shocked, Lai Mu stared at Lai Mu and made the loudest discussion. Because the battle was too fierce and there were explosions everywhere, the whispers could not be heard at all. Awesome. This is simply a battle between admirals. Who is that person? Who else in the world can fight Admiral back and forth? But even so, he is not Zephyr Admiral's opponent. Haven't you noticed that Zephyr Admiral didn't hold back, but he was all taken away by that man? Defend yourself. On the high platform, Momosuke bit her teeth gently, and Jinpyro was also held tightly by her. You are obviously a swordsman. How come you choose physical combat? You still like to show off your strength so much. At this time, Akainu and Kizaru on one side were stunned and looked at Lai Mu in disbelief. They couldn't believe that this was actually a recruit. As their teacher, Zephyr Admiral knew very well how strong he was. If Lai Mu were in his position at this moment, he would be able to produce such an effect, but it would make them. What is shocking is that Lai Mu is a recruit. I have traveled within Marine for several years before reaching my current position as Marine Admiral Alternate. The strength I have has been honed step by step, and Lai Mu seems to be born with it. How long has it been? Less than 3 months to go. How could this result not shock them? As monster graduates, they saw a new monster at this moment. Kong and Sengoku both folded their hands on their chests and said nothing, but their hearts were already filled with turmoil. Lai Mu once again gained attention and seemed to have more and more physical strength. At this time, Zephyr stood up like a carp, stood up again, and rushed towards Lai Mu again. So strong. This kind of intensity is almost catching up with me. Zephyr was very frightened. Although he did not kill him, the intensity was not something that ordinary people could bear. Moreover, Lai Mu was not a Logia user because of his strong physique. Work against yourself with martial arts skills. One can imagine the potential that student Lai Mu has. The speed of getting stronger is also too fast. However, Zephyr is also vaguely worried. If Lai Mu is allowed to continue like this, sooner or later he will pay the price for his arrogance, and he should be punished appropriately. Zephyr chuckled and said, Lai Mu, use your full strength in these 5 minutes. Lai Mu's expression condensed. I hope I can make teacher Zephyr happy. It seemed that either the winner would be decided in 5 minutes, or it would end in a draw. Lai Mu didn't waste any time and jumped directly to pick up a famous sword on the ground. This sword was called Guanxi Zhengzong. One of the 12 swordsmanship of the unparalleled knife, it is the famous sword wielded by Golden Lion, Sakura Tuki Kuzan. Anyone who has fought against the Golden Lion will know the power of this supremely sharp knife. Today, Lai Mu is a great swordsman of the Edo style. The strength of a single sword is far greater than that of a double sword. Therefore, the 2 twin swords of Sakura Jumuku have become secondary choices. The world is so wonderful. If Lai Mu is a great swordsman of the double sword style, Sakura Jukiku becomes the first choice. This is why Lai Mu has all 4 famous swords in his bag. Famous sword authentic view of the world. The body of Guanxi's authentic sword is entirely silvery white. Tiny gray and white dots can be seen in the chaotic blade, just like fine snow dancing on the silver ground. The overall cold glow of the blade is that of the snow. The silver sun shines in it. It is worth mentioning that there is also a famous sword lying on the ground, named Thunderstorm. Lai Mu has figured out that Thunderstorm is the sword used by Shiryu of Rain later. After Golden Lion got Sakura Jukiku, he gave him to his subordinates. When Golden Lion made a big fuss, Marineford was arrested and pushed. After entering the city, Shiryu of Rain found the opportunity and took the Thunderstorm into his pocket. Leiyu's body is red and gold in color, with a red handle, a golden nose, a square golden sword, a red scabbard, and the sword's light flashes with red blood. Thunderstorm is also a rare sword. Ha 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 ha. Is our swordsman going to use a sword? I'm curious whether your swordsmanship has improved. Said. Zephyr Admiral Haki is fully opened, and the air wave that sweeps over instantly makes people know that this attack is destined to be extraordinary. 055. Great Swordsman slashes. A knife that can sink the sea. 055. Great Swordsman slash. The sword that can sink the sea. Zephyr looked very excited, his eyes full of fighting spirit. This feeling can only be experienced when fighting against the top powerhouses in the sea. Unexpectedly, this time, he would try his best to test his students in public. You have to watch carefully. As he spoke, Zephyr raised armament Haki with both hands and punched thousands of black arm punches. Lai Mu held the sword in both hands and waved it, and countless sword lights were emitted. After colliding with Zephyr's fist, the ground was sliced into slices by the sword lights. Zephyr didn't dodge when he saw the sword. He was famous for his armed appearance and could defend himself completely. But the severe pain on his body caused by the sword light made him frown. With such power, Lai Mu is already a great swordsman. Next, I'll let you experience the violent storm of Marine Admiral. Zephyr shouted, then teleported to Lai Mu, and performed a full sidearm swing. This was using the strong inertia to gather all the strength of the whole body into the arm, and attack by throwing. It can be said that the combined strength of Zephyr is far more domineering than swinging a fist. Phew. Bang. The swing of his arms brought out a blast of wind. Lai Mu gently held Guanxi Zhengzong, holding it vertically to the ground, and then covered the blade with top-notch armed colors. The black Guanxi Zhengzong instantly bent after contacting Zephyr's arm. Stand up. You need to know, this is the blade after being covered with armed color, or it is the supreme sharp knife. But even so, there was still some bending, obviously due to a strong impact. Suddenly, the blade made a buzzing sound. Lai Mu also fell back dozens of meters due to the force. Call. What a powerful force. If his arm had resisted, it would have been numbed by 420. Lai Mu breathed a sigh of relief. Zephyr's use of physical skills is completely different from a simple punch. Any movement or part can be used as the sharpest weapon. This punch concentrates the explosion of all muscle groups in the body, which is no less than a killer moves. If it's stuck in your head, you have to blow it up. Wonderful. Sengoku couldn't help but sigh at Jonin on the high platform. If it were him, he wouldn't be able to find such a good way to resist. Looking at Lai Mu, Sengoku has already concluded that he is a fighting genius. However, Lai Mu's great swordsmanship is not a vegetarian either. After removing all the strength, Lai Mu swung his body and stood on the ground. He held Guanxi Zhengzong tightly with both hands and immediately swung with all his strength to release the slash. Gravity nameless slash. Buzz buzz. The space fluctuated, and the air was rippling. When the slash was released, people outside the field saw Lai Mu and thought he was under the water. His whole body felt like kelp, bending and undulating. The next second, a huge purple light slash, accompanied by countless gravels, followed the ground like a tiger, and instantly pounced on Zephyr. Zephyr's eyes narrowed and he smiled. Since the opponent can catch his swinging arm blow, so what if I forcefully catch him with a slashing blow? Zephyr's eyes narrowed, and his fingers were arranged side by side, forming a palm shape, and he wanted to hit hard. The arrogance of the explosion shook the entire square, as if it had experienced a major earthquake. The air wave knocked everyone around and the rocks on the ground to the sky, and the force of the slash was not just a moment. The powerful impact directly pushed Zephyr back, and the stone slabs under his feet were shattered. Crack. Under the powerful purple light slash, Zhao Defa's face turned dark. He clenched his teeth and seemed to be struggling. If you continue to hold on, you will be pushed into the sea. Ah! Zephyr's feet sank, his body bent over, and with a roar, he lifted the entire slash into the sky. The purple light slash was supported by Zephyr, and after spinning at high speed, it shot straight into the sky. In an instant, it exploded in the sky. The deafening sound was like rolling thunder, roaring in all directions. Boom! The powerful impact visible to the naked eye made all the marine soldiers look up with horrified expressions. Suddenly, the entire square above Marineford was enveloped in purple light. The strong vibration was enough to scare everyone silly. Great swordsman. A great swordsman like a golden lion. Zephyr shook his numb arm. At this moment, he finally understood that the reason why Golden Lion's famous sword was able to reach Lai Mu's hand was that Lai Mu's strength had reached that level. He had indeed taken the sword from Golden Lion's hand. Seized. What luck, it's just the humble words of the strong. I'm afraid I can no longer teach this student. Hey, you are going to destroy the entire rooftop square. There is indeed a top-notch monster among our marines. At this moment, everyone in the square above looked at the two people in astonishment. Are you kidding? This slash is too exaggerated. I have never seen such exaggerated swordsmanship in naval headquarters. It is probably on par with great swordsmen like Golden Lion. However, Zephyr Admiral took it easily, so it shouldn't be that difficult. Idiots, look at the sea behind you, it's looking at Tianjin. When they heard someone talking like this, everyone involuntarily glanced at the sea. At this moment, the sea is like a roaring beast. The rolling waves are stacked one on top of another, spreading out to both sides with the center behind Zephyr. At the center of the sea surface suddenly collapsed and sank instantly into abyss. The sea is torn apart. No. Even the clouds, a big hole exploded in the sky. Everyone was completely stunned, because not only was Lai Mu's slash not completely blocked by Zephyr, it even penetrated Zephyr's defense, and then slashed towards the sea behind Zephyr, causing a sinking in the sea in the picture. After Zephyr directed most of his slashing power into the sky, an explosion occurred, pushing the clouds in the middle of the sky to one side. The terrifying momentum directly blew a big hole in the sky. The battle between strong men is incredible. It's so terrifying. Who is this pirate? He's not Whitebeard. Could it be that he's the remnant of the Rock's ship and has come to Marineford for revenge? But why did I hear Zephyr Admiral call him student, and he also called Zephyr Admiral teacher? Is this guy a traitor to our naval headquarters? I cannot accept this outcome. Who is he? At this moment, it was not just the soldiers in the square who were deeply shocked. Even Akainu and the others looked horrified. There is no doubt that naval headquarters has produced a great swordsman who can be as famous as the Golden Lion. A layman looks at the excitement, an expert looks at the door. In the eyes of Akainu and others, this slash not only contains the powerful armament haki, but also the ability of the gravity fruit is softly blended into it, which is why it has such great power. For someone with less tough weapons, hard contact will only lead to serious injuries. Fortunately, Zephyr Admiral was famous for his armament and physical skills. He used his hardening and support to finally block this slash. Lai Mu's knife is the knife that can sink the sea. That's really strange. Do you think Lai Mu hid the history before? Kizaru looked at the magnificent scene in front of him and looked at Akainu with some doubts. He never expected that Lai Mu, a small soldier who had just entered everyone's field of vision, could fight like this with Zephyr Admiral. It was simply incredible. Akainu's face was dark and he just said lightly, who knows? With this strength, Lai Mu can indeed be equal to himself and become a Marine Admiral candidate. But at the same time, the only thing that can hinder Lai Mu is military merit. According to Lai Mu, he just joined the army not long ago. Even though he played an important role in the Battle of Eight Wall, he is far from the Admiral candidate. He has some gaps. But now, with Lai Mu's performance, once his identity is exposed, his reputation in naval headquarters will rise again. Seeing that the scene had calmed down and that he probably wouldn't fight anymore, Mammoth also took a deep breath. She didn't expect that after just a short period of time, Lai Mu's swordsmanship had improved to several levels. Only the top swordsman could do the slash he just made. His swordsmanship improved too quickly. If he had tested his potential in the battle, Lai Mu would have defeated the T-Dolphin with just this one slash. In other words, Lai Mu's swordsmanship was only developed during this period. But, how is this possible? I have been practicing swordsmanship for 10 years, and I am nothing more than a swordsman. What kind of monster is Lai Mu? Gudong. Sengoku swallowed and looked at Kong. Now he doesn't know how to evaluate Lai Mu, the marine recruit. It feels like he suddenly has a subordinate of the world's top powerhouse. And judging from Lai Mu's expressive personality, he should be very fond of military rank. But I am just an admiral, and my power is limited. Even if you want to promote a vice admiral, you must obtain the consent of the marine marshal and the 5 elders. But unexpectedly, Lai Mu, who was thought to be dead, actually came back. Now, what military rank should be assigned to him? That kid is stronger than we know. There's no need to fight anymore. We'll talk about the future later. Kong on the other side said in an unquestionable tone. Looking at Zephyr's condition, he used all his strength to withstand this slashing blow. Otherwise, if it were allowed to explode, the entire harbor would be destroyed. Staff officer he looked up at the sky, which had not yet returned to calm, and continued analyzed. As Marshal Kong said, this child is not simple, and may have become the strongest calendar among Marine and Under Admiral. As the think tank of naval headquarters, he was a student in the same class as Sengoku Garp. He is still active on the front line and is the one with the most analytical ability. After hearing what Kong and staff he said, Sengoku did not hesitate and stood directly in front of the loudspeaker. Ahem. Zephyr, Lai Mu, no need to fight, go to the marshal's office. The meeting is dismissed. As Sengoku finished speaking, all the marine soldiers were stunned. Meeting adjourned. Lai Mu. So he is Lai Mu Rear Admiral. The person who had a back and forth fight with Zephyr Admiral was Lai Mu Rear Admiral. He is not a pirate, but a marine rear admiral who made great achievements in the Battle of Etbol. OMG. You made everyone so scared that they thought pirates had invaded. Why on earth? Originally, Zephyr was not prepared to continue the fight, because every 10 days and 10 nights, it was estimated that he would not be able to defeat Lai Mu. Now that I hear Sengoku giving the order on behalf of Kong, I naturally won't be confused. However, Lai Mu's strength really made Zephyr's eyes shine. At this point, Zephyr is no longer confident of defeating Lai Mu. After all, his arm is still a little sore. Zephyr is known as Black. The wrist is so powerful with armament haki, but now, it is sore from a slash. When the physical strength drops, the hardness of the weapon color cannot keep up without the physical support, and I will get hurt. Although he is still in his prime, compared to those top young players, Zephyr still laments that he is old. At this moment, Lai Mu reached out and took the remaining 3 famous swords. Appeared in front of Zephyr alive and well. Teacher Zephyr, just now first heard the marine soldiers say that I am dead at the bottom of the sea. Ha 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 ha. Let's go. After such a battle, you are alive again. What surprises me is that you have improved so much. You are already a great swordsman. It looks like the Golden Lion. The battle between children has made you grow up so much. Zephyr patted Lai Mu on the shoulder and took him to the marshal's office. It is estimated that they are discussing how Lai Mu's current military rank should be graded. On top of the square. Watching the 2 people leave, the sailors were left in confusion. By now, No matter how stupid you are, you can see that this dirty man with tattered clothes is actually the missing Marine Rear Admiral Lai Mu, also known as Naval Headquarters IT. Hero of the Battle of Vor. And everyone understood why he was dressed like this. This is the person who survived the battlefield. For a moment, the soldiers on the field stood in awe, watching Zephyr and Lai Mu leave, their eyes full of admiration. Today, Lai Mu's name has become famous in naval headquarters. However, there was a question left in everyone's mind. Live or die, see dead bodies, this is Marines' rule for catching important pirates. But now, Lai Mu has brought back nothing but a few famous swords from Golden Lion. So, where did the gold 2.9 lion go? And just as the Marine soldiers dispersed on the square above, a bird with a bald back was hovering in the sky, with a small camera on its head. Record everything that happens in the square above. This is an esper in the form of devil fruit, bird fruit, and albatross. He was also the president of the World Economic News Agency in later generations, known as Big News Morgans. Now he is thin, but he can still fly. When I passed by Marineford earlier, I saw all the soldiers from naval headquarters having a party. So it was concluded that something big had happened. Unexpectedly, not only did the Admiral waiting list come out, but he also saw something new. Guagua. What an incredible thing I captured. The Golden Lion's famous sword actually appeared on a Marine recruit, and he was able to fight back and forth with the Admiral Zephyr to get it back. If you go, it will be big news that will shock the world. 1/ almost chopped me alive, all my feathers fell off, croak. It's all worth it. This is big news worth hundreds of millions of belly. I'm going to be promoted. I believe it won't be long before this matter will spread across the sea. Meanwhile, Naval Headquarters offices. All of Marine's top brass are already here. Surrounding the shirtless Lai Mu, Mammoth felt that Lai Mu's posture was a bit indecent, so he immediately covered him with his own cloak, covering as much as possible. At this time, Lai Mu took down the two newly acquired famous swords in his hand and said, "Well, Teacher Zephyr, these are the trophies from the Battle of 8 Wall. What materials do I need to use?" Report. Famous sword thunderstorm. Famous swords and authentic views of the world. The two swords struck Kamui in the hands of the Golden Lion, making the entire sea fearful. And now it lies quietly in Lai Mu's hands. 0.056. Breaking news. Lai Mu is famous in the sea. 056. Breaking news. Lai Mu is famous all over the world. Seeing Lai Mu take out two famous knives, everyone present came over to watch. Sengoku even directly drew out Kanshi Masamune. The moment the blade flashed, there was a burst of cold light, and there was a buzzing sound of swords. It seemed that even the space in the marshal's office was a bit cold. It is indeed the supreme sharp sword. It is undoubtedly the Golden Lion's sword. I am very familiar with it. Sengoku's arms collided with this supremely sharp sword countless times. Therefore, you can recognize it at a glance. Sengoku, that was before, the current owner is Lai Mu. At this time, Kong, who was among the crowd, finally spoke. Lai Mu, the matter of the famous sword is not important. I agreed directly and treated it as your trophy. No need to report it. The most urgent thing is to talk about you and Golden Lion first. For a moment, everyone present looked at Lai Mu. Everyone was curious about what happened to Lai Mu during that period of time before they captured the tip of the Golden Lion. Lai Mu didn't delay and explained directly. I think everyone knows the previous things, so I won't explain them here. At that time, Golden Lion had the rudder stuck on his head and was already seriously injured. He controlled lion fruit to lift off the main ship and wanted to escape. Among all the Marines, I was the only one who could fly, so I used my anti-gravity ability to catch up. Quote. When we reached an altitude of 10,000 meters, he and I started a decisive battle, which lasted for an hour from the sky to a floating sky island. In the end, under the restraint of my gravity fruit, I was able to barely fight him to a draw. He used Lion Majesty, govern place earth coiling, but I defended him with my gravity knife. After that, he and I a close quarters battle began, but in the end both of them were exhausted and fell down on opposite sides. When I woke up, I found that the Golden Lion had disappeared, and only two famous swords were left at the scene, which were naturally taken into custody. In the past month, I lost my phone and couldn't find our marine base. I robbed several pirate ships before returning to Marineford. This is the script Lai Mu had prepared long ago. He completely figured out the matter of imprisoning the Golden Lion. If the Golden Lion is escorted to impel down, then the fact that he owns Kamui space will be exposed. Kamui is one of his trump cards and will not show it to others easily. If it becomes a skill that everyone knows, it will be detrimental to you. At the same time, it is difficult to explain such a bug skill, which will only make people jealous. Anyway, Golden Lion has been imprisoned by himself and can be used at any time. What's more, for a top powerhouse in the sea, there must be a lot of secrets in his mouth, and Lai Mu is ready to pry them out later. Especially what Golden Lion said, that he is rocks. Lai Mu always feels that the world is not that simple. Therefore, Golden Lion either shuts up forever and comes out of Kamui space, or waits for the right time to come out. In short, Lai Mu has to wait for an opportunity to release Golden Lion. Hearing what Lai Mu said, everyone was in line with their expectations. Floating sky islands are common on the Grand Line. It's not surprising to find sky islands at an altitude of 10,000 meters. Several senior executives present have had interactions with the Golden Lion, and they know that the Golden Lion is not that easy to deal with. In this situation, it is life and death. Since Lai Mu did not die and did not bring back the Golden Lion, only it can show that the fighting was fierce at that time and ended in nothing. Kong coughed slightly. Reminder. Ahem, as a naval headquarters soldier, don't use the word robbery. Lai Mu scratched his head and laughed. Okay, Marshal Kong, I'm just borrowing it. The people present were worried when they heard this, but they did not delve into it further. Instead, they became concerned about Lai Mu's military exploits. Being able to defeat the Golden Lion and even destroy all the main ships. Such an achievement will definitely lead to first-class military honors. According to Lai Mu, who has only recently joined the army, it seems that it would be unreasonable to be promoted to the alternate position of Admiral of Headquarters rashly. Good thing. Lai Mu, I have recognized your ability. Now Naval Headquarters has just announced the Admiral waiting list. They are Sakazuki, Porosalino, and Kuzan. Your military rank is not enough, but in view of the fact that you established in the Battle of Golden Lion with your outstanding military exploits, we will discuss your subsequent promotion route and give you an answer when the time comes. After all, the matter was so special that even Kong didn't know how to deal with it for a while. He could only verbally promise Lai Mu's future promotion route, implying that Lai Mu would be taken care of by Naval Headquarters, and promotions would be a matter of course later. For such a hero with great strength, Kong had to pay attention. Seeing that Lai Mu was not qualified as an admiral candidate, Zephyr was about to speak, but was stopped by Sengoku. It is enough for Zephyr to reach this point. Now Lai Mu's reputation in Naval Headquarters has reached an all-time high, and the rest is left to the upper management to decide. At this time, news of Lai Mu's return spread throughout Marineford, and the soldiers who had witnessed the battle between Lai Mu and Zephyr Admiral were still in shock. During the conversation, when Lai Mu was mentioned, everyone was full of admiration. The combat prowess of such a great swordsman is not far away from becoming famous in the world. Lai Mu Rear Admiral is like a god descending from the earth. He can actually compete with Zephyr Admiral. Fortunately, even if Sengoku Admiral stopped it, otherwise the entire top seaport would have been destroyed. That slash was earth-shattering. Among us at Naval Headquarters, only the Marshal and the Admiral can probably take it down. Lai Mu is truly the one who defeated the Golden Lion. Marine God of War. In the future, our Naval Headquarters will have another God of War who will make Heisei fearful. At this moment, every corner of Marineford, groups of Marine soldiers were discussing today's events. In a certain ward, a pig squealed suddenly. The T-Dolphin looked ugly and digested the news in disbelief. Lai Mu was actually back. He also had a battle with Zephyr Admiral on the rooftop square, or was it a tie? It's a pity that Chado is still recovering from his injuries and can't get out of bed at all. Otherwise, he would personally ask about Lai Mu's battle with Zephyr, because he doesn't believe it at all. Aokiji frowned, feeling upset when he saw the T-Dolphin. He likes quietness, but the other party is the main noisy one. Suddenly, the whole ward is still picking up the frost. Aokiji, don't be like this. I'm so cold. At this moment, even though night has fallen, the enthusiasm of the entire Marineford is still unabated. The same goes for the outside world. New World, Aquila's Island. This is where the world's major news media gather, and the entire Grand Line's information converges here. At this time, there was no unity, there were several newspapers dividing the news market. Even though it is night, there are countless news birds circling. It seems that they are waiting for the newspapers to come out and are ready to fight. Although most of the information in this world is controlled by forces like Marine, there are still some lawless newspapers who dare to publish some eye-catching news for Bailey's sake. At this moment, Morgans began to organize the manuscript in front of the typewriter, and the photos were developed one after another. Have you finished writing the press release paper? It has to be like the best title. Stop joking, wouldn't this news take up space in our newspaper? The newspaper office is busy, and the phone calls in the entire space are buzzing. The current newspaper president is constantly urging. Time is money, my friend. Morgans, where have you been in the past 2 days? Why haven't I heard from you? If this continues, you will be unemployed. President Ballot, I found some big news. It depends on whether you give me a price or not. Morgans is originally a person with abilities in the form of bird fruit and albatross. After eating devil fruit, he has been using it all year round. The animal form appears to people, but now few people know what other people's forms look like. But what no one knows is that he was also an intern on the Rock's ship. During the Battle of the Valley of the Gods, he looked from a distance and knew what a significant role the word, information, would have on the sea. After the collapse of Rock's pirate in Valley of the Gods, he resolutely devoted himself to the newspaper. At the same time, he was extremely cunning and stole a devil fruit from the Rock's ship. After that, he disappeared from the sea in human form. Now they all appear in bird form. Morgan straightened his feathers, put down what he was doing, and continued to add, it's worth 100 million Baileys. Ballot looked at his subordinates sideways. He knew that Morgan's origins were a mystery, but he was very capable and usually disobedient. If he hadn't had a good sense of news and could create value for the newspaper, he would have been fired long ago. What, Morgans? Are you crazy? What kind of information are you offering me 100 million belly? Do you know how many newspapers we have to sell to earn 100 million Baileys? Morgans was not dissatisfied, but just threw a few photos away. After seeing the photo, Ballot's expression immediately became confused, and gradually turned into surprise, even horror, and then he screamed. What? The Golden Lion's famous sword was captured by Marine after the Battle of Atel. Admiral's promotion ceremony at Naval Headquarters. Battle between recruit and admiral on the top square. This news is really incredible. Morgans, you are such a treasure. This news is indeed worth 100 million Baileys. Edit it now. I want to review it myself. President Ballott's words immediately stunned all the news agency members. They all came over and asked Morgans. Only Morgans knows what happened. If you don't write the news quickly, it won't be news. Now only Morgans can do the editor's job. Such a large bonus made everyone envious. Soon, Morgans started editing in the editing column, and the first thing he started with was an explosive headline. It can be said that the news agency he works for is completely driven by profit. It reports on whatever is available and does not care about what naval headquarters thinks. This is also in line with his previous pirate habits. Shocked, Golden Lion was secretly arrested, and all weapons were seized. On the top of the square, Marine's next 4 admirals were confirmed, and the battle scene was announced. Close black lens bracket. In just a few days, when everyone was about to start busy as usual, the news bird distributing newspapers flew all over the Grand Line and distributed the newspapers to the hands of buyers around the world. The world was shocked. Without exception. In a newspaper, the content is divided into several parts. The first part describes the situation of the naval battle of 8 Wall, which is based on the information collected by the news agency at sea, and has some connection with the facts. The second part is to announce the results. By the way, a picture of Lai Mu's famous sword hanging from his waist is included, emphasizing that Marine has captured all of Golden Lion's famous swords and speculates that Golden Lion is dead. The third part released the live footage of the rooftop square, and even interviewed witnesses, confirming that there were major adjustments to the naval headquarters, and the admiral candidate was announced. Part 4. This is the situation when Lai Mu, the Marine soldier who confiscated the famous Golden Lion sword, fought with Zephyr Admiral. The battle was even divided into a duel of physical skills and swordsmanship, and the final shocking strike. All photographed. This slash made the entire sea tremble. The final conclusion in the newspaper was that Lai Mu, one of Marine's 4 admiral candidates, had completely defeated the Golden Lion. At this point, countless people on the Grand Line were shocked. Some young pirates tremble all over as soon as they hear Lai Mu's name. And the photos are the basis, you have to believe it. Grand Line New World. In the sea not far from Wanokuni, a pirate ship is sailing. It is the Whitebeard pirates. They have just arrived here in 470 and want to borrow money to return to their own territory. Suddenly, a newspaper fell from the sky. Soon, a crew member handed the newspaper to Whitebeard. Looking at Lai Mu's photo in the newspaper, Whitebeard's eyes became bright. While he was drinking, he suddenly put down his wine bowl and asked doubtfully, "Is that guy Golden Lion really defeated? But even if it encounters a storm, it's easy for Golden Lion to escape unscathed. I heard." He said that Sengoku and the others had already set off back to Marineford. Could it really be this gravity boy who did it? Dad, I've seen this guy before. Marco stared at Lai Mu in the newspaper. I was very close to Sengoku's warship at the time, and he was one of the Marines on the bow. Looking at the Marine uniform on his body, the rank should be Rear Admiral. Is there any news about Golden Lion? I heard that the Golden Lion disappeared after the Battle of 8 Wall. According to the fact that all his famous swords were captured by Lai Mu, I estimate that the defeat was true, and it is very possible. Whitebeard shook his head and denied it with a serious expression. Impossible. That B************** D Golden Lion won't die that easily. His era is not over yet. We just wait for the result. If a big pirate is defeated by Marine like this, the pattern of New World will change. Having one more top pirate group will attract more attention from Marine. For other pirate groups, it will be safer. Whitebeard doesn't care about Golden Lion's life or death, but worried that the sea will be in chaos. At this time, the other side. Ha ha ha, Captain Roger, Mr. Rayleigh, that B********* D Golden Lion chased us, and we suffered a lot. Buggy held up a newspaper and trotted happily to Roger and the others. After reading the content, Roger looked at Rayleigh in disbelief and said, "This guy Golden Lion actually lost to a kid." In the past 2 months, the Roger pirates have been chased by Golden Lion's fleet like rats. During this period, several battles took place. Roger knew that Golden Lion was very powerful, but he did not expect that. The weapons have now been seized. Rayleigh frowned and said, "Things are a bit strange. There is no news about the Golden Lion, and I haven't heard that he was imprisoned in Impel Down. Maybe the Golden Lion will appear again that day." Where is it? In the naval headquarters, in the marshal's office. Kong was a little angry. He held today's newspaper in his hand and became dissatisfied with the content. There is no doubt that the content of the newspaper has touched the bottom line of naval headquarters. Such a report will make the whole sea boil, which is not good for Marine. Where on earth did this news agency get the news? Since when did our naval headquarters have 4 admiral candidates? Strict investigation. Give me a strict investigation. At this time, Sengoku handed a document to Kong. Marshal Kong, Lai Mu's promotion report is out. 057. A news about Joey Boy. 057. A news about Joey Boy. New World, Aquila's Island. Everyone in the news office was surprised at this moment. The sales volume of the newspaper on the first day is out. It has reached 12,000 copies. This is still the first day. There are still many customers who have not received it yet. And there are countless readers who have reported that they want to see further news. This is the total number of publications we have published in the past 3 months. President, do you want to continue publishing supplements? The editorial office of the University of Nottingham was in complete chaos today. Forces from all aspects of the world were asking them to continue to follow up on the incident. The Grand Line intelligence network is quite complex. Whether it is overt or covert, as long as the price is high, it can be sold. Therefore, as long as there is a sign or a piece of news, it can become an economic industry. Morgans, do you have any specific information about the Marine Admiral candidate? At this moment, Ballot hurriedly came to Morgans and asked patiently. President Ballot always feels that this news can be dug deeper. After all, Golden Lion is still out of contact. Even spies around the world have not found any news about Golden Lion. This is a strange thing. On the one hand, because the sea is so vast, it is impossible to find someone who really wants to hide, especially someone like Golden Lion, who is likely to settle high in the sky. On the other hand, it is because Golden Lion is a high-profile person and can calmly come out even if he fails. Therefore, when the two are combined, it is a strange thing for Golden Lion to disappear. Morgan slapped his face with his wing-like hand, and said with a smile, President, I'd better settle my salary first, otherwise I won't be able to keep up with the gossip. Faced with Morgan's rhetorical question, Ballot's eyes twitched. Wait a minute, put all the gains in your bag first. The news fee is 100 million Baileys. This business only made a total net profit of 300 million Baileys. Now because of a piece of news, 100 million Baileys has to be given to Morgans. As the president of a newspaper, how could Ballot be willing to part with it? He thinks this is unreasonable. Faced with Ballot's perfunctory behavior, Morgans knew better and did not continue to ask questions. He will continue to follow such important news. Morgans is a serious person. Since he has chosen to invest in the information industry, he will definitely do it better. Even he didn't expect that the man named Lai Mu was actually a recruit of Marine. At this age, he had the strength to fight Admiral. It was even possible that he actually defeated the Golden Lion. In terms of amazing talent, he was also only Captain Lux at that time could rival him. Faced with such a powerful figure, how could Morgans, a former Rock's crew member, not take him seriously? Especially the identity of Lai Mu must be traced to the end. He felt that Lai Mu must not be a simple person, and he must have left some clues. At the same time, let's get back to the present. Faced with President Ballot not giving him the remuneration he deserves, Morgan certainly has a strategy to deal with it. It is best to be more open-minded. After all, we pirates have principles in doing things. Holy Land Mariajoy Pengu City Council Palace. This is the largest power organization in the world today, joined by more than 170 countries. It was first established by 20 ambitious kings 800 years ago. It concentrates all power. Naval headquarters is just an institution of world government. The headquarters of world government is located at the top of the Red Line, now the Holy Land of Mariajoy. This is also an important passage connecting the front and rear sections of the Grand Line. In addition to gathering the world's noble celestial dragons, this is also the pinnacle of world power, and the king of the world is here. At this time, the 5 elders were in a meeting. There is no doubt that the news of Golden Lion's defeat in the newspaper has attracted their attention. The Golden Lion has come to an end. After saying that, a middle-aged man with moderate dots on his head sat on the sofa, crossed his hands and moved away from supporting his chin. Among the many photos, he found the photo of Golden Lion, and then used. A red line was clearly drawn. And at the bottom, there is a photo of Rox. Although Rox has only been dead for 2 years, it is like ancient history that is often dug up. By the way, how many Joy Boys have appeared in this world? Don't forget what happened back then. We must take seriously everyone who poses a threat, whether he is a pirate or a marine. A man on crutches and wearing a hat said in a very natural tone, explain. Garp's son resigned, which I didn't expect. That Dorag, isn't it because we didn't give him the alternate position of Admiral? His personality is completely opposite to Garp's, but one thing is the same, they are both doing things for themselves. It's really a headache to have people like this in Marine. At this time, an old man holding a famous sword opened his eyes and said calmly, after all, if this kind of newspaper can be spread, doesn't it mean that we, the world government, have failed in our duty? I guess those pirates who want to replace the Golden Lion are excited. Bar. So what, in the final analysis, they are just a group of pirates. As for the recruit guy from our headquarters, is it appropriate to give him a vice admiral status so quickly? Moreover, we haven't fully figured out his background yet. Whether he can use it is still a question. After so many years, people who have gone out to become pirates from the Marine countless. He at least defeated the Golden Lion and also fought against Zephyr. He has the strength. If you can use it first. If there are bad signs, you can talk about it later. Anyway, they are all in our hands. Compared with this guy named Lai Mu recruit, I'm more concerned about the attitude of the remnants of Rox. Before the results come out, ask the intelligence department to keep an eye on it. The 5 elders hold the highest power in the world, and everything they care about revolves around the 4 words, eternal power, and the biggest obstacle is also 4 words, Joey Boy. And when Rox formed the pirate group, it has something to do with these 4 words. At this time, Marineford soldiers, residential area. With a wave of Uzumaki, Lai Mu's room was empty. When he appeared again, he had arrived in the Kamui space, and this time he brought some meat and wine to the Golden Lion. Golden Lion has gone through 3 stages this month. When he was first defeated, Golden Lion was disappointed. He felt that his ambitions had been completely crushed by Lai Mu. He felt that the dream of dominating the sea was a joke. He originally wanted to follow Captain Rox, but the result was almost the same. It's just that he is still alive, and the frustration makes him feel depressed. Then, in the second stage, Golden Lion fell into self-doubt. He doubted his dreams, doubted the space created by Lai Mu, and doubted whether he had taken the wrong path. During this period, Golden Lion had no thoughts, kept silent all day, and entered the stage of hunger strike unknowingly. Now, it is the third stage. Hunger makes people lose their minds. Sanji, the founder of the Straw Hat Pirates, also did something like eating human leg meat when he was living on a desert island. Such things often happen in the sea. At this moment, Golden Lion grabbed the piece of meat and began to gnaw it, and drank heavily. He looked like a beggar who was extremely hungry, and his identity as a flying pirate was completely different. If they just looked at it, no one would have guessed that this was the famous flying pirate Golden Lion. Lai Mu just waited quietly, but his mind was thinking about how to deal with the Golden Lion. In the Kamui space, Lai Mu is invincible, and the Golden Lion is just an object to be slaughtered. Now his swords have been confiscated by Lai Mu, and the rudder is still stuck on his head. Haki has problems using it, and the only thing he can rely on is physical skills. But now that Lai Mu has attained 6 styles Ochin, how can he still be his opponent? Of course Lion Fruit can't do it either. The Kamui space can be freely transformed according to Lai Mu's will. It can be infinitely broad or infinitely narrow. With just one thought, it can be shrunk into a real cage. In this way, the Golden Lion's ability to move is completely lost, and the inside as the composition of materials belongs to another dimension and is completely different from the normal world. Lion Fruit cannot be shaped by movement. In this situation, in the Kamui space, Lai Mu is the only god. No matter who comes in, he can only be at his mercy. After the Golden Lion finished eating, Lai Mu just sat on the floor and said face to face. Shall we talk? There's nothing to talk about. Lousy doesn't like you at all. The Golden Lion regained his form again and turned into a wild look, showing his kingly spirit even when he was imprisoned. Lai Mu naturally would not expect to make such a king of the sea submissive. In Lai Mu's knowledge, Golden Lion was imprisoned and impelled down for 10 years, but his fighting spirit was not lost. He cut off his legs and escaped from prison, tied his legs with a pair of knives, and replanned the plan to destroy East Blue. Although it was already at the end of its strength at that time, its ambition was still there. This is the situation that the old man is talking about. In the space I created, do you think you can make a comeback? After saying that, Lai Mu directly released the top conqueror's haki. For a moment, thunder light flashed in the Kamui space, and a powerful pressure swept over. Although the Golden Lion was able to resist, he couldn't help but feel horrified. At the same time, because of the rudder, I have some headaches. You actually awakened the conqueror's haki. I have many such abilities. I just want to tell you that whether it is swordsmanship, physical skills, or haki, devil fruit abilities, I am above you. If it were you in your heyday, you would not be me after today, opponent. The implication of Lai Mu's words is to tell Golden Lion that even if he is let out now and given a stage, he still cannot escape from Lai Mu's palm. This is a red fruit, okay, fruit blow. Gia ha 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 ha, I didn't expect a character like you to appear in Marine. You Marines are just lackeys of celestial dragons. The legend of the sea will not end because of you. You are not Captain Rox, and you will not become Joey Boy. Golden Lion laughed wildly, with a little contempt in his eyes. The current Golden Lion, after a month of thinking, has recognized Lai Mu's strength. He no longer doubts what Lai Mu said. However, compared to Rox, this Marine kid is still far behind. Golden Lion doesn't even accept Rox, will it be swayed by a few words from Lai Mu? Joey Boy. Lai Mu has known this name for a long time. In other words, Joey Boy is just a title and a symbolic lip. In the subsequent plot of the original work, Joey Boy, a key figure who appeared 800 years ago, is the most important foreshadowing of the pirate world, and all secrets revolve around Joey Boy. If the protagonist Luffy wants to become the pirate king, then Joey Boy is the sea map leading to the final island. Raftel. Roger arrived at the final island and learned about the 100 years of blank history before giving the island its name. After logging into Raftel, Roger cried and laughed wildly. There is no great secret treasure in this world, it is just a joke. But this joke is the wonderful thing about the pirate world. Now, when Lai Mu heard the name Joy Boy from Golden Lion, he suddenly became curious and thought of a way to pry open Golden Lion's mouth. Point 058. Secret. Marine can't tolerate you, that's what I said. 058. Secret. Marine can't tolerate you, that's what I said. Do you know the difference between you and Roger? Lai Mu looked at Golden Lion with his usual calm expression and spoke. An arrogant person like Golden Lion needs a severe blow, and the target is naturally Roger. Later, Roger became the Pirate King, which directly broke Golden Lion's guard. He also sincerely admired Roger and thought that Roger on the sea was his only opponent. So, after One Piece Roger surrendered, Golden Lion looked in disbelief, and was finally defeated by Sengoku and Garp, imprisoned until impelled down. At this point, the era of Golden Lion came to an end. Anyway, he has strong skin, so the attack is just right now. Sure enough, upon hearing Lai Mu's question, Golden Lion slapped the floor, as if he had heard a big joke. Gia ha 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 ha, what a joke. Is Lousy worse than Roger? Of course, you are better than Roger in one thing. At least you can dream. Dreaming. What are you talking about? Damn you kid. You want to collect ancient weapons and use force to establish a pirate kingdom on the sea. But Roger is collecting historical texts along the way. His purpose is just to find the final island and understand the truth about the missing 800 years ago. What ancient weapon? Roger has no interest in dominating the sea, and you chase him all the way to get him to join your camp. No, do you really think Roger and you are on the same page? Lai Mu complained quietly. This is too arrogant. Hearing this, Golden Lion was completely speechless and couldn't find the words to refute for a moment. It's not that he never thought about taking this path, but after experiencing the failure of Rock's pirate, he gave up looking for the final island and instead aimed at absolute force. He believed that as long as he had absolute force, he could rule the sea. But now, hearing this again, Golden Lion was a little confused. All kinds of past events instantly merged into his mind, and the repeated shocks made it difficult for him to calm down. That's right, I tried my best to get Roger to join me and dominate the entire sea together, but in the end, he said he was not interested. What he was looking for was the historical text, not the ancient weapon Pluton. Roger's real purpose is to find the final island for 453. Rather than dominating the sea, finding the final island is the ultimate dream of a top pirate, because that would be a declaration of war on the world government. If it could be found, it would be unprecedented. At this moment, Golden Lion, who knew Roger's purpose, was completely confused. I used to think Captain Rocks was Joey Boy, but Captain Rocks is no longer. At this moment, the lion was trembling a little, and a question suddenly emerged: who is Roger? It's no surprise to hear Joy Boy, Lai Mu again. In his impression, the remnants of the Rocks pirate knew many secrets. For example, Whitebeard Newgate also had a chat with Roger in the follow-up, but he was not interested in the secret of the final island, but it could at least prove that Whitebeard knew it. In the Wanokuni chapter, when Kaido fought against Luffy, he directly mentioned the name, Joy Boy, and denied Luffy. The 5 figures that emerged in Kaido's mind were Rocks, Roger, Newgate, Odin, and Red Hair. These were not only the opponents that Kaido regarded them as, but the 5 of them were also the Joey Po that Kaido once thought. Yi's heir. Unfortunately, they are neither. Although Lai Mu is not interested in the title Joy Boy. But who can resist the temptation of the ultimate secret of the sea? Shaking his head, Lai Mu denied. Nor Roger. Nor Roger, is it you who owns Conqueror's Hockey? Gia ha 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 ha. What a joke. It's not that simple, Gia ha 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 ha. But I get it. No matter what achievements you make in Marineford in the future, as long as you have this kind of mentality, there will never be room for you in Marine. Golden Lion laughed heartily. Marine can't tolerate you, remember, I said this. Gia ha 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 ha. Lai Mu noticed that although Golden Lion was unruly, he always used the title captain when he mentioned Rocks again and again. In his opinion, Golden Lion still respects Rocks, but they parted ways for some reason. As for Marine not being able to tolerate him, Lai Mu was completely prepared. After all, he is a time traveler, and the strength he uses will only get higher and higher, and naval headquarters is a branch of Mariajoy. Lai Mu gets along happily in Marine, but one day he will face oppression from the Holy Land. As an omnipotent time traveler, Lai Mu's wings will harden one day. When your superiors ask you to do something you don't want to do, conflicts are inevitable and may even lead to death. It is very likely that Lai Mu will not be able to bear it and may even fall out. What he was thinking was that he could make a salted fish by himself or throw it into pieces. As long as the trouble didn't come to him, it would be fine. He didn't have to target Marine, but he still had to guard against the 5 elders and the mysterious I Am. Lai Mu also knew that Golden Lion did not want to continue talking on this topic. Simply changing the topic directly, he always felt that Rocks was not a simple person. Okay, Golden Lion, there is no need to continue this topic. Tell me about Rocks. You said before that my abilities are very similar to Rocks. Golden Lion opened his eyes and glanced at Lai Mu. In the past, he was too lazy to talk to Lai Mu about these things, because in the eyes of Golden Lion, Lai Mu was just a brat. How could he be qualified to talk about such a person? But now, Golden Lion has gotten so many secrets from Lai Mu, and Lai Mu has used Conquerors, which has proved Wang's potential and it can't be justified without saying something. Captain Rocks, I still think that my swordsmanship is the best in the entire sea. Even if the sword god Ryuma is resurrected, he will not be my opponent. But after meeting Captain Rocks, I realized that his swordsmanship is much better than mine. Even in my heyday, I was not as good as Captain Rocks in swordsmanship. Roger's Conqueror's Hockey is the strongest I have seen in the past 2 years, but compared to Captain Rocks, Roger is still far behind. That B********** D Garp's Iron Fist is strong enough, but in front of Captain Locke, he can only get beaten. Whitebeard Newgate's Shock Fruit destroys heaven and earth, and can even increase the power of his sword. Shock Fruit is the most destructive in Paramesha, but he is still far from Captain Locken's opponent. If we really want to say that we are the ones who have trained our qualities in a certain aspect to become ultimate, then Rocks is the one who has surpassed ultimate in all aspects. Hearing this, Lai Mu, who has a system, did not feel any change in his heart. Because with the help of the system, sooner or later he will get more powerful power and even do better. He just remembered the conversation between Sengoku and Zephyr. Rocks is so amazing and talented, the times cannot tolerate such people. Lai Mu asked. So, the fruit ability of Rocks is similar to my space. Hearing this, Golden Lion had a troubled expression on his face, as if he was thinking of a bad experience. I only know that there is no daylight in that space, and all the materials in it want to crush people. There is no such description in the devil fruit illustrated book, just like there is no such devil fruit in the sea. The devil fruit does not exist. Could it be that there is no record of the devil fruit in the illustrated book? BFCC, impossible. The devil fruit path was copied from a certain ruins, and was not made up by later generations. As devil fruits were discovered one after another in later generations, it was confirmed that every fruit on the illustration has been there as a record. If it is omitted, it is also omitted by the person who wrote it. The chance of this happening is small. In Kamui space, neither Lai Mu nor Golden Lion spoke anymore. According to Golden Lion, he himself entered the space of rocks and was even tortured by rocks. As for why he later became Rox's subordinate or even his crew, it is not clear why. Anyway, if you want to impress a careerist like Golden Lion, Rox does have a unique advantage. Also at this time, a voice suddenly sounded in Lai Mu's ears. Boom, boom, boom. Lai Mu left an ear in the room, hearing the sound of knocking on the door in the room outside. Then, next time we meet, next time I will consider how you get out of Kamui space. Golden Lion didn't understand what he said. Either go out sideways or go out vertically. But there must be a price for going out vertically. However, Golden Lion did not experience too many fluctuations, and did not even think too much. Anyway, it was bearish on life and death, so it was done as it should. At this time, after a wave of fluctuations, Lai Mu returned to the real space. After Lai Mu opened the door, he discovered that it was the familiar messenger Jahala. Lai Mu Rear Admiral, Marshal Kong and Sengoku Admiral are waiting for you in the Marshal's office, saying they have a question about your military rank. Seeing Lai Mu, the messenger was a little excited. He had been very impressed by his previous success in bringing Momosuke Rear Admiral into the room. But this time, Lai Mu even defeated the Golden Lion and took away the unparalleled sword. After returning to Marineford, he fought with Zephyr Admiral and launched a shocking attack. Such a powerful Rear Admiral made Jahala want to kneel down and hug his thigh. If we don't hug him now, do we really have to wait until he becomes an admiral before hugging him? Okay, thank you, I'll be there right away. Jahala enthusiastically led the way, just to leave an extra impression in front of Lai Mu. Lai Mu Rear Admiral, please come this way, I will take you there right away. At this time, another door in the corridor was pushed open, and Momosuke appeared in the corridor. After meeting Momosuke, Lai Mu remembered that he had just returned to Marineford. The journey was dusty, ragged, and shirtless. When he was questioned by everyone in the Marshal's office, Momosuke couldn't stand it, so he lent it to him. Get yourself a cloak. Now, the matter is over, and the cloak remains in the object map. Although there are still many uniforms for Marine officers, and due to frequent battles, one will be reissued every 2 months. One more and one less does not make much difference. But since I happen to encounter it now, I naturally have to pay it back. So, Lai Mu scratched his head in embarrassment, quickly opened the door to his room again, and said, Momosuke Rear Admiral, wait, your uniform is still in my room, I will give it to you right away. Uniform. Room. At this time, Gahara was completely impressed by Lai Mu. He came to get Momosuke Rear Admiral's uniform and left it in the room. Emma, Lai Mu is indeed the god of picking up girls in Marineford. This progress, this speed, this wonderful at night, people are envious and heartbroken. Seeing Lai Mu enter the room, Momosuke also blushed. This guy, doesn't he know that speaking like this can easily cause misunderstanding? What should I do if my innocence is ruined? After Momosuke got the clothes, Lai Mu saw that Momosuke was wearing a formal uniform, and there was a piece of paper in addition to the kinpira on his waist. This is Marine Mission Document. Lai Mu asked. Momosuke Rear Admiral, are you going on a mission? Momosuke first put the uniform in his house, and after coming out, he said, I'm going to Wanokuni. Wanokuni. Since the Rocks pirate was disbanded, Kaido has been eyeing Wanokuni, but now the situation in Wanokuni is not very clear. There are many powerful samurai in it, even Kaido. It's not easy to win either. The two sides are spending their time in intrigues, both waiting for a chance to defeat the other side. Facing the upcoming war, Momosuke received an order from his headquarters to investigate. Hearing that Momosuke is going to Wanokuni, all Lai Mu thinks about is that according to the plot, there will be excitement in Wanokuni. Knowing that Rocks, powerful Lai Mu is in urgent need of new attention. Who knows what other unknown powers are hidden in this world? Only having the ability is the guarantee of survival. Lai Mu said, it is very likely that I will also go to Wanokuni. Faced with Lai Mu's words, Momosuke's eyebrows flashed, you want to go too? Well, it's just a plan. The mission of Naval Headquarters, each mission is completed by a fleet. But there was no Lai Mu's name in Momosuke's list, so when I heard Lai Mu say she wanted to go to Wanokuni, Momosuke looked a little surprised. You'd better go to the Marshal's office to do your business first. 11. See you. At this moment, Jahala, the messenger on one side, felt numb. People were still working, but dog food fell from the sky. Emma, it would be nice if there was someone to accompany me to deliver the letter. 059. Give you a small warship and catch up to Momosuke. Garp lost. 059. Give you a small warship and catch up to Momosuke. Garp loses. Just inside the Marshal's office at Naval Headquarters. Although it is an informal meeting at this moment, many big shots have gathered. Marshal Kong, Sengoku Admiral, and Zephyr Admiral are naturally here. In addition to Sengoku, there are also the main grand prize candidates Akainu Sakazuki, Kazaru Porosalino, and Aokiji who are still in the hospital and have not come back. In addition, the mainstay of the entire Marine, Staff Crane, Hero Garp, Weasel, and quite a few vice admirals from the headquarters are sitting in the office. With just this lineup, it can be said that a very important meeting is being held at this moment. When Lai Mu walked into the office, everyone's eyes were focused on him. Looking at this scene, some vice admirals were almost sweating for Lai Mu. After all, in such an atmosphere, he was watched by so many Marine executives, and he also announced the position provided by 5 elders. No matter how he spoke, he was the same question. It's just that this group of worried people was disappointed. As usual, Lai Mu saluted the Marine senior management and then stood in the middle of the field. Naval Headquarters Rear Admiral, Lai Mu is here to report. Kong nodded, took out a document from the drawer, tore off the sealed shell, and began to read it. Even as the Marshal of the Naval Headquarters, Kong only submitted the documents for Lai Mu's promotion. As for whether he will be promoted, it all depends on the above. At the critical moment, the surrounding mainstays held their breaths. Lai Mu's reputation has spread throughout the sea, but he doesn't know what position he will get in the Naval Headquarters. If the position is low, talents like Lai Mu will definitely feel that they are not valued, which will lead to dissatisfaction and then lead to new conflicts. What Lai Mu will say will be a problem. But if the offer is too high, what will those Marine soldiers who are unable to be promoted think about it? Is it for the money that you have worked so hard in the headquarters for so many years? Of course not, it's for a higher power. Therefore, the top management has the final say on how to check and balance. General Marine in the office had obviously anticipated various situations and was waiting patiently. At this time, Kong spoke after reading the document. Lai Mu, if you have learned about Naval Headquarters and World Government, you will know that Naval Headquarters is an organization of world government. Who should be trained and promoted? When you reach a certain vice admiral position, you will need the above document. Quote. And what I have in my hand is the handwritten approval document from the 5 elders. In our headquarters, as long as there are matters related to important positions, they need their approval. Your promotion approval has been received, and I will inform you in public now. It was just as Lai Mu expected. If it is just a position like ensign, major, or rear admiral, the upper management will not care about it. Just like arranging a security position for one's relatives, it often happens that one person achieves enlightenment and ascends to heaven. That's because the position is small and has no impact on the overall situation. The upper management also hopes to use this to tightly tie some senior officials. When you reach a higher position, you must be recognized by the 5 elders. For example, in the future battle between Akainu and Aokiji for the marshalship, it was because Marshal Sengoku strongly recommended Aokiji, but the 5 elders asked Akainu to be the marshal. The result was not decided until the Punk Hazard battle for 10 days and 10 nights. But this is also because the two of them have reached the pinnacle of power in the naval headquarters. They are both core figures in the headquarters and have the right to speak. And Lai Mu is still a small rear admiral, so naturally she has no say in promotion channels. Although Kong did not make it clear, he has hinted that if Lai Mu continues to be promoted, he will still need to deal with the 5 elders. It is not an exaggeration to say that he is showing loyalty. As for everyone's thoughts after promotion, that is entirely a personal behavior. The prerequisite is that you have to keep your attitude in mind. Lai Mu feels that if this is the case, then we should take it easy. I just want some attention, I don't want you to really pay attention inside and out. Well, Marshal Kong, please speak. Seeing that he finally came to the topic, Kong stopped delaying and started reading directly to the document. Lai Mu Rear Admiral, achieved military merit during the battle on Kara Island. In the subsequent Marineford Naval Headquarters test, he was rated as an A-level potential candidate. He was promoted to Naval Headquarters Rear Admiral. For his outstanding performance in the Battle of 8 Wall, he is hereby promoted to Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral. If you complete 3 first-class merits or establish special merits in the future, you will be promoted to Admiral of Headquarters Candidate immediately. As the word, Admiral Candidate, came out, the surrounding Vice Admirals were stunned, all with astonishment on their faces. In fact, the reason is also very simple. No matter how you look at Lai Mu now, he is just a recruit. How long has it been since he took up the position of Rear Admiral? Have you been nominated as an Admiral candidate now? How embarrassing it is for these seniors who have been in Marine for more than 10 years. It's just that something seems wrong. 3 times of first-class merit. Special meritorious service. After hearing this, everyone felt relieved. What is the first-class merit? It's the big pirate whose bounty exceeds 700 million Baileys for catching him. And 3 times. In this era, such top pirates are extremely cunning and will not show up at all. How can they be easily caught? Therefore, it will be very difficult for Lai Mu to be quickly promoted to the Admiral of Headquarters candidate, is an almost impossible task. However, the special merits are a bit intriguing. This is a hint that 5 elders will provide opportunities. It depends on how Lai Mu goes about it. All in all, despite some twists and turns, Lai Mu is definitely on his way to success. Next, Kong explained the necessary conditions to achieve first-class merit. Then, Lai Mu agreed directly. Marshal Kong, I am now a first-class meritorious officer, and there happens to be a place that can satisfy my desire to catch pirates. I apply to go to Wanokuni immediately. Nowadays, Whitebeard's territory has been stabilized, Big Mom has also occupied all nations, and is working hard to create people and build power, and the Golden Lion has been imprisoned by Lai Mu. The remaining ones are Roger and Kaido. Coincidentally, Rybert is probably also exist. Therefore, Wanokuni is now the busiest place in the entire Grand Line. It is the best place for Lai Mu to harvest attention. For such a feng shui treasure, Lai Mu must be visited. Lai Mu, did you get any information that made you decide it was Wanokuni? At this time, staff officer he walked over unknowingly and asked. During the Battle of Eight Wall, Lai Mu demonstrated his intelligence capabilities and was able to guess the specific location of the Battle of Eight Wall. From this, it seems that Lai Mu's ability as a think tank is not low. And now, Momosuke, the sister of Staff Officer Suru, is really going to Wanokuni to perform a mission. If he can get some information from Lai Mu, Suru will be able to provide some information to Gion. Although Momosuke is a swordsman, her intelligence ability is the best. Logically speaking, the risk factor is not high when doing intelligence work, but it is always good to ask her to take precautions in advance. I heard that Kaido, one of the remnants of rocks, is causing trouble there. I want to go there and try my luck. Try your luck. There is such a thing as your Lai Mu. You actually want to try your luck in a place that others avoid. There is no one left in naval headquarters. He said earnestly. Lai Mu, before you investigate clearly, your decision is very dangerous. Yes, that's Kaido. Kizaru lay on the chair, looking at the ceiling, and continued to add with a crooked mouth, as for the seventh person in Rock's pirate, I heard that after he was in the Valley of Gods, he was in Rocks I received a devil fruit from the phantom beast species in the treasure house, and my strength has increased. How come I haven't heard of the phantom beast seed? Akainu looked at Kizaru's casual look and felt a little unhappy, but he was even more curious about the phantom beast seed devil fruit. Yes, zone fish fruit phantom beast species blue dragon form. I thought you all knew it. What? Fantasy beast species, green dragon form. Everyone present was shocked. Many people present have seen this fruit in the devil fruit illustrated book. It is said to be an immortal fruit that can go up to the sky and into the sea. Those who eat it can not only greatly improve their physical fitness, but also have great offensive capabilities. This devil fruit has been valued by naval headquarters for a long time. It is an existence that is as fearful as lion fruit. And now, he was actually eaten by the pirate Kaido. Don't look at Kizaru looking listless and carefree. But he is the most outstanding intelligence officer in naval headquarters, and he knows some secrets like the sea. It was obvious that no one else present had heard of it. Kizaru picked his chin and asked, isn't it strange that Rock's pirate has collected so many secret treasures from the sea? Poor Salino, why didn't you tell me earlier if you had information? Sengoku Admiral said with some dissatisfaction. Didn't I just find out yesterday? I reported it today. Kizaru looked innocent. Sengoku stood up, put his hands on the table, and said loudly, Marshal Kong, I suggest that Kaido's danger level be increased, and the reward order will be updated. Please give me flowers. With such a group of subordinates, Sengoku has a headache. Forget it for others, but you, Perosolino, are the Admiral of Headquarters candidate, can you be more serious? Okay, the matter of Wanokuni should really be taken seriously. Kaido must have something up his sleeve. Lai Mu, since your strength has been affirmed by Admiral, it doesn't hurt to go to Wanokuni, but don't force anything, focus on exploration, avoid unnecessary battle. I'll see if there are any suitable candidates so that you can take care of me. After Kong finished speaking, he glanced at all the Marine soldiers present. These are the mainstays of Marine and will be used when necessary. At this moment, Kong tried his best to hint with his eyes that someone could come forward and complete the task of exploring Wanokuni with Lai Mu. But in the end, Kizaru turned his head and patted himself on the shoulder. In the end, he was still muttering about why his clothes were dirty again. Marineford had just opened a dry cleaning shop. Originally, Kizaru was promoted to Admiral candidate and transferred to a position in the science department. He usually discusses academic issues with the great scientists at Vegapunk. He is very busy and has no time to go out to perform tasks. And Akainu has just been promoted to Admiral candidate, so he has many opportunities to obtain military honors. What's more, after the naval battle of 8 volume, the issue of historical text interpretation has once again attracted the attention of the 5 elders, and Ohara needs to be investigated. Compared to going to Wanokuni to gather information, Ohara's matter is more important to Akainu. As for the other vice admiral, come on, that's Kaido. He is an esper in the form of a blue dragon, a species of phantom beast. 0. Isn't it just to give someone a head if I go there? How dare you? I don't want to go no matter how high the salary is. Kong was a little angry. This group of people was so unreliable. When something really happened, not one of them would be there. At this time, Lai Mu smiled and refused directly. Marshal Kong, it is more convenient to investigate alone. I can handle it. Organize it well and ensure that the task is completed. Quote. Ding. You have received 50,000 attention points from Naval Headquarters Marshal Kong. No way. The more beautiful you say, the more attention points you get. Lai Mu is now very good at the system. I believe that if I go to Wanokuni, I can do a few diamond draws. If I am not careful, I will be one step closer to invincibility. Thinking of Lai Mu's eagerness to make contributions, Kong also reminded him appropriately, that's right. I'll give you a small warship. You catch up with Momosuke and bring the phone bug given by the headquarters. Report any news immediately. Exclamation mark. Don't act on impulse. Yes. After a few brief words, Lai Mu left the marshal's office. With Lai Mu leaving, Kizaru getting ready to get off work, and Sakazuki also leaving, it would be useless for the others to stay. At that moment, everyone in the office left one after another. For a time, there were only 5 people left in the office. Kong, Sengoku, Zephyr, Garp, and he. As for the other Vice Admiral and others, they were also ordered to go out and wait. Did we go too hasty and tell Lai Mu about the establishment of the first class? He only offered to investigate Wanokuni in order to become the Marine Admiral substitute, right? Zephyr. He clenched his fists and said with some worry. Zephyr, Lai Mu is different from ordinary soldiers. I saw it when he was chasing the Golden Lion. He is a reckless man. Sengoku glanced at Zephyr and just said this. In a word, there seems to be something wrong when I think about it. If he is just a reckless man without any resourcefulness, how can he defeat the Golden Lion? You know, Golden Lion is very good at planning. Sengoku went on to add. A reckless man with intelligence. Since Lai Mu has also gone, let me inform Gion and ask her to wait for him slowly, and also ask her to pay attention to Lai Mu's movements. He opened one eye and looked at Sengoku and said. Okay. Sengoku nodded. At this time, Kong put his hand on Lai Mu's appointment letter, and then changed the topic and looked at Garp. Today's business is not over yet. Garp, tell us about your son. In this office, Garp didn't say a word today. He just wanted to be transparent, but he couldn't escape and started picking his nostrils. Ah, you mean Dorag. Kong tried to persuade Delog to submit his resignation, but he failed to stay. He originally wanted to find Garp to persuade Delog to give up submitting his resignation, but Garp disappeared. Jump out. Kong naturally looked unhappy. What else? How many sons do you have? I couldn't help it. He and I even had a fight over this, and I lost, so naturally I couldn't stop him. Ha 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 ha. What? You lost? .060. Sorry, Momonosuke, I'm afraid you can't be born. 060. I'm sorry, Momonosuke, I'm afraid you can't be born. The second half of New World, a certain island port. At the port, the warship had already set off, and Gion was pacing back and forth on the warship. Damn guy, where did he go? It's almost dark, the warships are about to leave, and he still hasn't come back. Just as Lai Mu flew onto the warship, Gion's complaints came from among them. The two of them have been on this warship for more than half a month. It is still some distance away from Wanokuni. Warships sometimes need supplies, and those excellent ports are one of the best choices. What did you say? Ah, Lai Mu suddenly fell from the sky, almost causing Gion to suffer cardiac arrest. After seeing clearly that the person who appeared was Lai Mu, Gion felt relieved. Along the way, Lai Mu was full of curiosity and often visited towns. What Gion didn't know was that Lai Mu was looking for information about Wanokuni's trip. It's so late, and you still know how to come back. You thought you were fooling around outside. Lai Mu suddenly felt like he was being questioned by his wife. Originally, in a world full of seas, the world was connected by ships. Each journey was very far, and people were also wild. 290 did not have so much human ethics, so no matter what, whether you were a pirate or a soldier of your headquarters, in order to relieve the boredom of the journey, just like a certain aviation profession, you will sleep with someone else at each stop you pass by. This kind of thing is very common in the Grand Line, and Gion's ears are ringing when she hears it. However, she is a very traditional person and does not participate in this kind of thing. He is afraid that Lai Mu is also such a person. Along the way, Lai Mu sometimes reminded Gion of her swordsmanship, which helped her improve a lot. At the same time, Gion also asked Lai Mu a lot about the Golden Lion, only to realize how thrilling Lai Mu's experience was. If it were him, he might have died long ago, and he would have to be a hero on the battlefield to survive. Gradually, Gion admired and even liked Lai Mu. But when she asked about Lai Mu's whereabouts, she realized that the question was a little abnormal, so she hugged Jin Pilao and said with a blush, well, I'm just asking you. I'm warning you, don't think too much. I don't have any idea about you. Looking at Gion who was talking nonsense, Lai Mu laughed. Yes, you are not interested in me, just hold Jin Pilao and have a good time. By the way, there are too many Wanokuni swords, so don't worry too much when the time comes. Hearing Lai Mu's answer, Gion chuckled. Although this man is only strong in swordsmanship, he is also good at teasing girls. But by the time Gion reacted, Lai Mu had already walked to the bow of the ship and looked into the distance. Because of his excellent sight in the night, he discovered a suspicious ship. After seeing the pirate flag clearly, Lai Mu felt that he had seen it before. Gion hurried over and asked, what happened, Lai Mu? Lai Mu pointed to the dark sea surface under the starry sky, which was now shimmering under the moonlight. When a pirate ship appears in front of our warship, we naturally have to go up and take care of it. Gion raised his eyebrows when he heard this. There was really a pirate ship ahead. Why can't I see it? Lai Mu patiently explained. There are still 10 nautical miles. Ah, is it that far? There is also an observation hockey in Gion, but since there is no gravity bonus, you will naturally not be able to see places beyond 10 nautical miles. Okay, I believe you. Gion heard from Suru that Lai Mu needs military merit to be promoted to admiral candidate. When he encounters a pirate ship, he will naturally go to capture it. Maybe he will encounter a big fish. Soon, Gion gave the order and directed the warship to move in that direction. The speed of warships is not comparable to that of ordinary sailing ships. Neutralized by the speed of the two ships, they soon met. Lai Mu looked closely and remembered that this pirate group was somewhat familiar. It was Gecko Moria. Although Moria will challenge Kaido later and get a team-killing title, so he starts to rely on the power of zombies and wants to take revenge, but in the end, he is still the weakest among the Shichibukai. But now it seems that Moria is heading towards Wanokuni's position again. But I always feel that the timeline is still a little too early. The pirates have been so rampant recently. They actually want to get closer to the town. According to the pirate flag, they are the Moria pirates. Moria. Gion had never heard of this pirate group, so he could only take out Marine's information background book to investigate. 130 million big pirates. This guy is a very vicious person who burns, kills, loots, and loots. And what? Besides, he is doing the job of a human trafficker. Hearing this, Lai Mu felt a little numb. It turns out that Moria still has this dark history. After all, if the pirates can do this, they might as well go home and raise pigs. Lai Mu nodded slightly and said directly, "Okay, leave it to me." Gion was stunned and said nervously, "Lai Mu, you must not be impulsive, our artillery is not ready yet." Quote question mark question mark question mark quote. After the words fell, Lai Mu had already taken out the Kanchi Masamune from his waist. Now he plays Idoku style and only wears one sword with him. The rest of the famous swords are placed in the Kamui space. At this time, the Moria pirates did not panic at all, and the observers also spotted the approaching warship early. "Boss Moria, it's a warship. It looks like it's at most the Vice Admiral level." Moria, who was currently 4 meters tall, heard this and sat in the cabin laughing. "Vice Admiral. As long as it is not those 4 Admiral candidates, I will be afraid of Marine's little Vice Admiral. Hey guys, we have encountered Marine, rush over and kill them." The boys below roared and drew out their knives one after another, some even holding muskets in their hands. "Kill, kill, kill, no one can stop our Moria Legion. Go to hell, Marines." At this time, in the corner of the cabin, some civilians were trembling when they heard the rushing sound on the deck, thinking that it was 2 groups of pirates about to fight. Among them, a green-haired woman was hiding in the cabin and frowned when she heard these sounds. This person is Tianyu Shi. She has green hair, with a bunch of hair on the left and right. She wears a hair ornament on the right side of her hair. She has various patches on her body. She looks dirty and does not look like a beautiful woman at all. At the same time, Tianyu Toki is also a user with the Paramesha time fruit ability. He was born 800 years ago, and his parents are members of the Wanokuni Tianyu family. The fruit ability allows him to travel to 800 years later, so he wants to go back to Wanokuni to have a look. As a result, as soon as she traveled to the future, she met the human trafficker pirate group led by Moria. Fortunately, she was smart. After learning that it was a ship heading to Wanokuni, she decisively showed weakness and took a free ship. Although the treatment was not very good. But at least we can get there. But now, before anyone reaches Wanokuni, they encounter a fierce battle with pirates. Oops, it looks like we have to change boats again. At this time, a ray of purple light shot up into the sky, and the powerful slash cut the ship's hull in half. The pirates on the pirate ship had already left this beautiful world before they had time to react. On the warship, Gion couldn't help but swallow his saliva as he watched this slashing attack, with all kinds of envious expressions on his face. For a swordsman, apart from the one he loves, is there anything in the world that is more beautiful than a slash? Lai Mu he is such a monster. Yes, maybe the only word, monster, can describe Lai Mu. At this moment, seeing his pirate ship split in half, Moria was completely confused, but now was not the time to dwell on this problem, because the purple slash seemed familiar, and seemed to be exactly the same as the photo of Marineford in the newspaper. Did I meet the 4th Admiral candidate? The man who defeated the Golden Lion and then collected the famous Golden Sword. By the way, I still have a boat. At night, Moria boarded the boat directly and rowed away with a few of his men. I wish I hadn't seen it. I wish I hadn't seen it. I wish I hadn't been seen by the 4th Admiral. On the warship, Lai Mu yawned and looked a little listless. Originally, he wanted to recruit a loser at sea, but after hearing all the evil deeds of Moria, Lai Mu gave up. Although Moria escaped under Lai Mu's nose, he still did not choose to throw himself into the sea. At this time, Moria and his men were frightened. After thinking that they had escaped, they couldn't help cursing. Damn the 4th Admiral. When Laozi takes off, we will definitely seek revenge on him. Lai Mu, who was already listless, swung out another slash at random. Suddenly, Moria became numb. The big 5.7 swordsmen on the sea all seem to be the same. When they see a ship that doesn't like it, they will send out a slash. It doesn't matter whether the opponent is dead or alive. The important thing is that the swordsman must have an attitude. Finished. Call it a day. Lai Mu stretched and was about to turn around and leave when his body suddenly stopped. Then I heard Gion's exclamation. Huh, there are civilians on this ship. It seems they were trafficked by Moria. Come and rescue them all. We can place them in a nearby town. As the pirate ship was split open, the civilians in the cabin fell into the water one after another. Dozens of people were splashing in the waves and shouting for help. At this moment, Lai Mu saw a green-haired beauty among the people who fell into the water. Not so. There is a beautiful woman in the pirate world that I should know. After searching the memory, he contacted his location and time, and finally connected everything together. Soon Lai Mu came up with a result. It's somewhat similar to Moonlight. Could she be Momonosuke's mother later? If it's true, I'm sorry, Momonosuke, I'm afraid you can't be born. Point 061. Encounter with Beasts Pirates. Everyone is ready to fight. 061. Encounter with Beasts Pirates. Everyone prepares to fight. The next day, a huge warship set sail again. Yesterday, after rescuing some people, Marine's warship returned to the town called Mumudo and released the people. At this time, Lai Mu was standing on the huge battleship. Many sailors on the deck looked at him secretly. After all, yesterday's attack was so impressive that it would be impossible not to attract attention. Of course, there is another reason. Mammoth is now just the Naval Headquarters Rear Admiral, while Lai Mu is already the Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral, the person with the highest position on this warship. However, although he received much attention, he didn't care at all and just looked at the information about the Kaido pirates in his hand. Regarding Kaido, I knew it before Lai Mu traveled through time. He was one of the later 4 emperors. He was called Kaido of the Beasts. He was known as the strongest being in the sea, land and air. His favorite things were drinking and committing suicide. He also said that living was very boring, but still in Versailles. Now Kaido can only be regarded as emerging. After occupying Wanokuni, the sphere of influence was officially expanded. Having the demonic ability in the form of a blue dragon, a phantom beast species, although he is not as famous as Golden Lion Whitebeard, he still has strength. Just when Lai Mu was looking at the Kaido pirates' information, Mammoth Rear Admiral walked up to him. This time, Mammoth also brought a girl with cyan hair, who was the same age as Mammoth, about 18 or 19 years old. She was the eldest daughter of the Tensuke family 800 years ago, and later married Kazuki Odin. Later, it was renamed Kazuki. At this time, Mammoth said, Lai Mu, this lady is unwilling to get off the boat and wants to take our boat to Wanokuni 15. Lai Mu slightly chinned his head, and his guess was indeed correct, because the purpose of Yushi was indeed Wanokuni. Gion, we are here on a mission, but the identity of the other party is unknown. But I don't think she wants to be a bad person. She's certainly not a bad person. Now he is just a confused time traveler. The reason why Lai Mu said this was to use a reason to control Tian Yushi. In fact, the reason is also very simple. Tian Yushi is a person who lived 800 years ago. He is a person who has personally experienced history. He knows information that ordinary people cannot compare with. If Lai Mu can control it, the value of the information obtained will be huge. When Tian Yushi saw Lai Mu, he immediately noticed the Kanshi Zhongzong on his waist. This famous sword was forged by Tian Yushi's father, Tianyu Wagwang, the greatest swordsmith 800 years ago. His famous sword never expected that 800 years later, it would be in the hands of the cruisers. The reason why it is a cruiser, and not a marine, is that it was just established 800 years ago. It is a small organization and has not yet evolved into the later marine. Tian Yushi only confirmed the news when he saw the marine logo. However, the cruisers were not good people at the time. They were cruel, and did countless evil things in order to help the 20 kingdoms rule the sea. After traveling through the sky and moon, only then did I understand more or less Marine's current responsibilities. Over time, he became more righteous than pirates. Moreover, Tian Yushi, as a swordsman, has some natural admiration for great swordsmen. After seeing the purple slash last night, he was very curious about the person who made the slash. Suddenly, some light flickered in Tian Yushi's eyes. Mr. Janao, Miss Janao, please take me home, my home is in Wanokuni. Gion nodded, don't worry, we'll let you off the boat when we get there. After hearing this, Lai Mu no longer refused, but looked at Tianyu and said, then, during this period, you will be my assistant. What is an assistant? Tian Yushi looked confused, not quite understanding what an assistant's job was. The one with the sword. With that said, Lai Mu threw Guanxi Zhongzong to Tianxi. He had long seen that as soon as Tian Yushi appeared, his eyes never left Guanxi Zhongzong. He could tell the origin at first sight. Lai Mu was not in a hurry to ask, preparing to find out the secret of Tian Yushi step by step. Tianyu felt angry for a while. She was the eldest daughter of the Tianyu family. When did she start working as a servant? Humph. Mr. Cold Swordsman. However, it feels really good to be able to hold the Tianyu family's heirloom in my arms after 800 years. The second half of the Grand Line, New World. If there is a gathering place for vicious pirates, then the answer must be New World. Starting from Upside Down Mountain, there are 7 routes to choose from, eventually converging on Sabayati Island in the middle, passing through Mariajoy, a holy land controlled by the world government, or sinking to the Fishmen Island, a 10,000-meter seabed. The world after entering is the Grand Line, the second half, New World. This sea area is also called the Sea of End, because most of the pirates who come here will stay here for the rest of their lives. The New World is completely too dangerous. Those ordinary pirates are unable to take a step forward, and the one-way pointer cannot retreat, so they linger in the same place or are dead. Standing on the deck, Lai Mu felt the sea breeze blowing. The promotion mechanism of naval headquarters made him retreat. The sea is cruel, and so are all the people who live here, let alone a position similar to a civil servant. If you want to be promoted, you still have to listen to the people above you. But unfortunately, the upper level is for the eternal kingship. The world has become deformed, and Lai Mu now just wants to get more rewards. This is true freedom. After another month of sailing, we were getting closer and closer to Wanokuni. All the Marines on the deck were fully prepared, especially the Marines responsible for the lookout, who did not dare to slack off in the lookout room. At this time, Gion and Tianyu came to Lai Mu. After a month of getting along, the two have become good friends and both sleep in the same room. At this time, they had their hair tied up, wearing kimonos, carrying small pillows behind their backs, and applying some rouge and gouache. They looked simply, a little bit excited. Seeing Lai Mu staring at him, Gion blushed a little. Well, Lai Mu, Wanokuni is about to die. We can't go in as Marine, so we have to dress up. I have prepared clothes for you in the room. Go and change it. Well, okay. Lai Mu nodded. Wanokuni is closed to the outside world, and outsiders cannot enter. If you wear a Marine uniform, you will quickly become the target of everyone, which is not conducive to the execution of tasks. Just follow the Romans, Lai Mu will naturally not refuse. This time, only Lai Mu and Gion entered Wanokuni. Of course, there was still 1 day and a month left. The rest of the Marine soldiers stayed on the warship and stayed near Wanokuni. The phone bugs kept in contact so that they could respond at any time. 10 minutes later, Lai Mu came out of Momosegi's room and appeared in front of the two people wearing a samurai uniform. Immediately, Gion and Tenyu were stunned. Handsome. So handsome. If Lai Mu wears Marine uniforms that make people feel energetic and sunny, then when Lai Mu wears Wanokuni clothes, she looks handsome and attractive, especially when there is a unique ruffian temperament in it. If the waist without a famous sword, he becomes more like a respectable samurai. This outfit is perfect for Mr. Janao. Tien Yushi covered her mouth, looking fascinated. Whether it was in the past or now, I have never seen such a handsome swordsman. Past. Now. After a month of getting along with each other, Gion felt that her sister was good at everything, but she was a little confused when speaking and often talked about the past and the future. Of course, Tianyu was very curious about ordinary things and didn't seem to have seen the world. Gion ignored Tensuke's nymphomaniac behavior, but when Gion saw Lai Mu, he remembered Kazaru's words. Kazaru once said, Lai Mu is handsome and has a good figure. You two are a perfect match. Thinking of this, Gion couldn't help but blush. The crew members on the warship were envious when they saw Lai Mu surrounded by two beauties. They remembered a legend circulating in naval headquarters. This legend was spread by the messenger Gahara, saying that Lai Mu is the god of picking up girls in naval headquarters, and all beauties will fall for him. When I saw it today, it was clear to me that it was really extraordinary. But, also at this time, wreckage. The wreckage of a pirate ship was discovered at the defense line at 9 o'clock on the left front. A pirate ship was discovered at 3 o'clock on the right. It's too far away to determine what pirate group it is. In the watchtower, a Marine watchman stretched out half of his body and shouted down. After hearing this, all the Marines on the deck were stunned. There was no need to give orders. The artillery on all the warships was ready to be in place, especially the speed of the warships, which was even faster invisibly. Did you meet pirates again? Lai Mu released observation haki, and he could indeed see a pirate ship sailing. On the other side, there were merchant ships that had been silenced by the attack. The wreckage floating on the sea was still billowing. Thick smoke. At this time, a Marine soldier quickly ran to the deck. Lai Mu Vice Admiral, Momosegi Rear Admiral, the person in front is the Beast's pirates. The person standing on the bow is the third person in the Beast's pirates. Mammoth Jack 147. In this era, the Kaido of the Beast's pirate group has 3 core characters. The first is Governor Kaido, the second is Quinn, and the third is Jack. The 3 disasters have not yet been formed, and King Jin has not yet joined, or in other words, not yet. Become famous is number 2. And Jack is Kaido's most capable cadre. Because of his hot temper, he often comes out to play around. The information about the ancient mammoth-shaped fruit's ability has long been grasped by naval headquarters. The bounty has reached 600 million Baileys. You can imagine how dangerous this character is. But in any case, this is a very dangerous and violent person who often disagrees with him. No, to be precise, he is an evil pirate who will attack as soon as he sees him. Hearing this, Ziwan's expression also changed slightly. Gion shook Kinpira at his waist, stared at the pirate ship ahead and said, there has been news that Kaido is preparing to attack Wanokuni, and it is normal to be entrenched nearby. Mammoth Jack must have robbed the passing merchant ship. Return. Hearing this, Tianyu frowned. Wanokuni was his hometown, and even though it was 800 years later, she didn't want anything to happen to Wanokuni. The Marine soldiers on the ship were already well prepared. They did not expect that they would encounter such a powerful pirate before they arrived at Wanokuni. At this time, everyone's faces became solemn, and they clenched the courage in their hands and looked at Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral Lai Mu. Kaido of the Beasts is the remnant of the Rock's ship. Everyone knows the terror of the Beast's pirates. How bad will his right-hand man Jack be? I and others are definitely no match for the Mammoth Jack. And among the people on this warship, only Lai Mu Vice Admiral can defeat him. Lai Mu smiled slightly. It's a small problem. Don't worry, even if Kaido comes, he still can't eat and walk around. Hearing this, Tien Yushi relaxed a little and quickly handed the Guanxi Zhengzong to Lai Mu. Perhaps the only person who can save Wanokuni is this great swordsman. Momosegi was very calm and relieved when he saw Lai Mu. Lai Mu's strength is unfathomable, and according to his character, he will never sit idly by. At this moment, Lai Mu has become the backbone of the entire warship. After taking a look at his soldiers, Momosegi walked directly towards the bow of the ship, pulled out the Kinpira from his waist. Everyone, prepare to fight. .062. Jack, your bounty has grown to ivory. 062. Jack, your bounty has grown up to the ivory. In the Wanokuni waters, a three-masted pirate ship is sailing. I saw that there was a beautifully carved mammoth head at the bow of the ship, and there were some curved ivory skulls on the huge mast. This was Kaido's mammoth Jack's pirate ship. At this time, on the deck of the pirate ship, Jack was lying on a huge rocking chair, eating meat and listening to a pirate reporting on the statistics of the treasures he had robbed previously. At the same time, another pirate reported, a warship was discovered. The specification is Vice Admiral level. Vice Admiral, so what if the Admiral comes? We are Beasts pirates, Wanokuni is our territory, Marine will have to sink to the bottom of the sea if he returns. Ha 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 ha. Jack opened his eyes, opened his mouth and smiled, with a sharp smile. The teeth show that the race to which he belongs is not simple. Master Jack, should we avoid it? Marine has been too arrogant recently and made news about the 4th Admiral. I always feel that the voice on the bow of the ship is very similar to the 4th Admiral. A pirate crew member holding a telescope in hand said. 4th Admiral. The news was completely caused by that guy Morgans. He was hovering in the sky at that time and clearly heard that Marine's Admiral candidates were Akainu, Aokiji, and Kizaru. When he wrote the news later, he deliberately wrote it into 4 admirals in order to attract people's attention. Also specifically reported on the famous golden lion sword in Lai Mu's hand, which made Lai Mu fly up. Therefore, news of the 4th Admiral is now spreading everywhere in the sea, and even Morgans himself did not expect it at all. The pirate holding the telescope nervously added, it is said that he defeated the golden lion, beat up the Marine Admiral Zephyr, and... But just in the middle of speaking, the crew member suddenly felt the danger, and then turned around to see that it was Jack staring at him, and even his teeth were grinding. Yes, I'm sorry, Boss Jack. The crew member apologized nervously. Who do you think Lousy is? Lousy is the Mammoth Jack. Get out of here. Jack is obviously angry. As a big pirate in this area, Jack only admits that Governor Kaido is stronger than him. Others, haha, even if Admiral comes, it won't work. Therefore, Jack, who is born to be strong, will not allow his subordinates to admit their identity. Come on if you are timid. Yes, yes, yes. I'll get out right now, said. The telescope crew member rolled directly to the other end of the deck and got into the crowd before relaxing. I don't care who the other party is, Lousy has the final say here. Turn the ship around and get ready to take action. Jack's huge figure stood up. The wild body gives people a strong sense of oppression. Forced by the authority, the crew members on the deck lowered their heads and immediately went to find something to do. Rather than living under Jack's fear, the pirates would rather fight with Marine, no matter whether the opponent is the 4th Admiral or not, it is better than enduring the oppressive threat around them. After entering the range of the cannonball, Jack gave the decisive order. Fire. At this time, the warship was also on standby, and a commander shouted, fire. Boom boom boom. Bang bang bang. In an instant, the sky was filled with artillery fire. In an instant, the sky was filled with dense shells. When the shells from both sides collided, a messy explosion sounded in the sky and resounded throughout the sky. The cannonballs that landed on the sea level exploded into bursts of white water, and huge waves shot into the sky. Both sides showed no signs of weakness and were conducting artillery fire suppression. Momosegi's figure flickered, and several cannonballs couldn't stop her swordsmanship. She cut through the cannonballs with just one slash. Suddenly, the cannonball exploded in midair. As the two ships drew closer, Momosegi Rear Admiral returned to the deck, only to find that Lai Mu was no longer right. Where did he go? As the eldest lady of the Tianyu family, Tianyu had only seen swords and swords dancing, but never anything like bombs, otherwise she would have thought they were fireworks. But the power of these fireworks is too great. Tianyu was a little at a loss and said nervously, Mr. Janao, he went to the pirate ship. What? Lai Mu, come back quickly. The opponent is Kaido's capable subordinate. No matter how strong Lai Mu is, he can't rush into the pirates. Besides, at this time, Lai Mu, in a blink of an eye, had already reached the mast of the Mammoth. On the deck below, Mammoth Jack didn't care about the shells falling around him. This pirate ship was carefully built by him, especially some of the valuation departments, which made use of Wanokuni's unique ore, which is far harder than steel. Those bits and pieces, the broken parts, can be repaired later. It's the kid on the mast. This made him very unhappy. Do you dare to board my Jack's ship? The next second, he pulled out a pair of scythes and rushed directly towards the mast. Boom. Under Jack's impact, the mast exploded and fell down instantly. Ah, what a brainless fool. Seeing Jack's bad temper, Lai Mu was also a little speechless, and the bounty had grown to the ivory. With a loud noise, Lai Mu jumped off the mast, directly pulled out Guanxi Zhengzong, and slashed down. At this time, Jack also swung his knife from bottom up to resist. With the clash of swords, a wave of air suddenly erupted. The deck creaked and then exploded, and countless sawdust flew up. Under the strong force, Jack's big feet have sunk deeply into the deck. It can be seen that Lai Mu's sword Wanwang is so powerful. It's not over yet. The next moment, a huge force of gravity blasted directly towards the location of the Mammoth Jack. As a result, the entire Mammoth pirate ship sank more than 10 meters as a result of the downward pressure of gravity. At this moment, the position on the deck has sunk so much that it is about to be flooded with water. Is this still a pirate ship? Why is only the deck still above the water? What's the difference between it and a big floating wooden board? At the same time, around the pirate ship, with the pirate ship as the center, waves sprayed out in all directions. The aftermath spread in circles, and in an instant the water on the upper surface of the sea was pushed aside. This scene. It doesn't matter if it's marine. Pirates as well. Everyone looked stunned. His face was full of horror. This picture is simply too terrifying. When it became clear that it was caused by Lai Mu's swing of the knife and Jack's blocking of the knife, everyone felt their scalps go numb. Dimensionality reduction attack. It's a pressure attack. This power is so overbearing. It can sink a 50-meter-long giant pirate ship to this point. This power must be more than 10,000 tons. Push the entire ship into the sea, and the buoyancy of the sea will be useless in the hands of that marine. It's so scary. I've never seen such a powerful force. Will our ship still float? Master Jack's ship is made of steel and iron. It cannot be easily broken, but it will be bad if it sinks to the bottom of the sea. This huge power makes a ship unable to breathe. At this time, everyone who saw this scene was shocked and numb, and began to worry about their lives. Not only the pirates were shocked, but the marine soldiers on the warship were also shocked and speechless. There is no doubt that with this blow, the cabin of the Mammoth pirate ship was flooded and the cannons were disabled. In fact, it is only a matter of time before it sinks completely. How much force does it take to crush a huge ship and choke it? Tien Yushi had covered her mouth in surprise and looked at this scene with horrified eyes. 800 years ago, Wanokuni was already dominated by samurai. As one of the largest families in Wanokuni, the Tianyu family also had many retainers. Among them, the most retainers were swordsmen. However, Tianyu could guarantee that he would not have any. Have you ever seen such a powerful swordsman? This overbearing blow is going to crush everything. At this moment, Tianyu realized that he was wrong. Originally, she thought that Lai Mu could only deliver powerful slashes and was a very powerful swordsman, just like a retainer in her own family. But he didn't expect that there is another way to use the slash. That is, bludgeoning. Blunt strikes don't care whether the blade is sharp or not, it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. Instead, he used the most domineering force to overwhelm everything. It is clear, Lai Mu's swordsmanship has surpassed all the swordsmen of Wanokuni 800 years ago. In Tianyu Shi's eyes, he was happy that Guanxi Zhengzong could be in the hands of such a swordsman. Mr. Janao is really amazing. Momosuke put Jinpira into her waist and was not ready to fight anymore. Now that she fully knew that only Lai Mu was there, she didn't need to worry at all. She felt so safe. This is the mammoth that has been soaked in water. The pirates all said some self-deceptive words. Are you kidding? Our boss is the Mammoth Jack. He is the #1 admiral under the governor. Look, our boss is going to fight back. Our ship is about to float. At this moment, only the deck and some mast buildings of the entire Mammoth were still on the surface of the sea, while the rest of the ship sank into the sea. These guys. How verbose. Jack's eyes suddenly opened, but his forehead was already covered with sweat, and the shock in his heart was even worse than that of the soldiers. Because he is a person who has experienced it firsthand. At this moment, he felt that his legs were weak and trembling. He was excited and fearless in his heart, but the powerful force caused his strong body to react naturally, and it was indeed impossible to bear it. Mud. Jack only had one sentence in his mind. Damn it. What kind of huge force did it take to do this? At this time, Jack couldn't move. It was already amazing to withstand such oppression. It was undoubtedly a fantasy to fight back. However, lousy as the Mammoth Jack. Suddenly, a sense of momentum emerged from Jack's body, his skin began to wrinkle, and his arm muscles became several times thicker. Mammoth. Human animal form. As Jack transformed, his physical fitness also changed, and his strength became several times stronger. Lai Mu, who was in midair, was still exerting force, and he naturally felt Jack's strength. Li Haojiao received it. Boom. A loud noise erupted at this moment. The waves surrounding the mammoth are spreading out layer by layer. Boss Jack has transformed. Most people can't stop his anger. Our boss is going to fight back. He actually forced out Boss Jack's human animal form and the huge strength of a prehistoric mammoth, which will definitely make Marine suffer a lot. We are saved. As expected, the most important thing is to follow the right boss. B. A scene that shocked everyone around him appeared again. Because the scene didn't seem to have changed at all. It was Lai Mu who was still in the sky, pressing Jack tightly with his sword. Jack, on the other hand, could only resist with trembling legs. At this moment, the blade was only 0.01 millimeters away from Jack's face. The big pirate with a bounty of 600 million belly. I heard that you are Kaido's most capable subordinate. Why do I feel that your bounty has grown to the top of the ivory? Why don't you cut it off today? From top to bottom, Lai Mu spoke calmly with an expressionless face. He spoke clearly and his tone was full of sarcasm. Jack looked up at Lai Mu, and finally recalled the faces in the newspapers he had read before, and finally remembered the unparalleled sharp sword that suppressed him. Is this the fourth-day general who defeated the Golden Lion? The person in front of me is just controlling the power at will, neither letting the ship sink nor letting it float. You're teasing me. At this moment, Lai Mu's words attracted everyone's attention. It feels like you are really mocking the Mammoth Jack. 063. Got married in the cabin. Actually, I come from 800 years ago. 063. Got married in the cabin. Actually, I came from 800 years ago. Yes, I'm teasing you. Are you angry? Can you still move? Can you show some strength? Hearing this, everyone couldn't help but swallow their saliva. We were deeply worried about Jack. Now, everyone has experienced how Jack feels now. It's not that he doesn't want to resist, but that he can't resist at all, and he can't even move. He is the Mammoth Jack. He was actually being suppressed and ridiculed, but he still couldn't resist. Everyone who saw this scene was shocked. I really belong to you. Simply killing you won't make me calm down anymore. Just accept my anger. Bros, follow my orders. Shoot. Shoot me. The mammoth had several cannon mounted on its plywood. At this moment, it is completely possible to shoot at Jack. Jack is an esper in the form of an ancient mammoth, with rough skin and thick flesh. Several rounds of shell bombing could not hurt him at all. However, if the cannonball explodes on Jack, then, you can get out of trouble. After hearing Jack's order, all the pirates reacted. The top priority was to help Jack, the boss, get out of trouble. As long as there was space, Jack's power would be even stronger. At that time, you will be able to fight this marine. Soon, with a few boom 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 sounds, countless artillery fires were ignited, and bombing was about to begin. Seeing this scene, Tenyu held Gion's arm tightly and became a little worried. At this time, Gion was no longer worried. Based on her understanding of Lai Mu, she would not give such an opportunity. As expected, Lai Mu's gravity knife suppressed Jack, while taunting followed. I originally thought that as a capable cadre of Kaido, you wouldn't be brainless. What on earth do you want to say? Jack's jaw was already trembling with anger, but in his heart he was expecting a bomb to hit. Lai Mu just smiled slightly and said, now it seems that you are completely brainless. I am right, your bounty is all on ivory. Boom boom boom. Boo-hoo 837 boo. On the mammoth, the fourth gate artillery was aimed at Lai Mu, and the cannons popped out, and with a hiss, they went directly towards the target Jack. At this time, Jack felt the changes on his scythe, and it seemed that even the space began to distort. The next second, Jack yelled, stop. Don't shoot. He is a user with the gravity fruit ability. It's too late. Lai Mu directly used the gravity field, and countless shells were directly affected by gravity. They fell vertically within 1 meter of launch, and the moment they touched the deck, gravity suddenly disappeared. Then, it started spinning on the plywood. The crew picked up the cannonballs and inspected them, shaking them. Ah, did the shell get water? Did we fail to launch? Ah, a bunch of idiots. Jack said angrily, throw it away. This is the gravity fruit. When he saw this scene, Jack's eyes were filled with bloodshot eyes, and his heart was filled with a dangerous aura. The next second, without warning, boom, 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 4 cannonballs exploded in the hands of the pirates, and 4 clouds of blood mist instantly erupted on the scene. In this situation, holding a bomb and waiting for it to explode, it is estimated that not even a complete bone is left. The deck was also hit by the bomb at this moment, and 4 large holes were immediately opened. The cannons were placed at the edge of the plywood. With the explosion, countless seawater penetrated the deck and poured into the cabin. Sinking is only a matter of time. Seeing his treasure ship being severely damaged, Jack was heartbroken and almost going crazy. At this moment, Jack suddenly felt his body light up, and the next second Lai Mu had disappeared. Without warning, a slash fell from the sky towards the mammoth and immediately came down. The speed was so fast that it could not be seen with the naked eye, but could only be felt BFEA that this slash was extraordinary. Call out. Under this slashing attack, the mammoth's hull was instantly cut in half. The cuts on the entire hull are neat and orderly. Even the hull bones made of special ores have been cut off one after another. The surface is more like polished, with only the faint cold light of metal. At this moment, there was nothing but the sinking ship and the screams of the pirates. On the warship, the marine soldier swallowed. Kaido's right-hand man, the ancient ability user Mammoth Jack, failed like this. Why is it so easy? Sure enough, is it because Lai Mu Vice Admiral is too powerful? At this time, the marine soldiers were sighing and rejoicing. They were all glad that Lai Mu Vice Admiral belonged to the naval headquarters. If it were an opponent, it would be unimaginable. Lai Mu Vice Admiral, I'm determined. He has a bright future. He is the future admiral of naval headquarters. He is an absolute asset. This guy can definitely handle it. After a few minutes, the hull was completely silent, and there were only some pirates paddling on the sea, shouting for help. The Mammoth Jack, whose massive size was the first to sink, is now completely invisible. In the sky, Lai Mu sheathed the knife and finally muttered, I forgot, that guy is a fishman, even with demon fruit power, he can breathe underwater. Mistake, mistake. Back on the deck, Lai Mu threw the famous sword to Tianyu, then turned to Gion and said, Gion, these are a bunch of minions, do they need to be captured and impelled down? Gion shook his head, no need, let them fend for themselves. Tianyu Shi held the famous sword in both hands and viewed the world authentically, looking at Lai Mu with eyes full of admiration. As for the other marines, they just feel like there are 10,000 bees flying and buzzing in their heads. All the marine soldiers here have heard the rumors about Lai Mu. Even some of them did not see him fighting Zephyr Admiral in the square on top of naval headquarters due to missions, but they can still hear it from newspapers and from the mouths of marine soldiers. I talked about the rumors about Lai Mu. The swordsmanship of a great swordsman. The top gravity fruit ability user. Cut down the Golden Lion's warship. Seize the Golden Lion's famous sword. The strength is too strong. Today, in just a few minutes, Jack was easily sunk to the bottom of the sea. It can be said that he was playing all the way and was not serious at all. Such a thing is shocking to heaven and earth. He will not be the most promising vice admiral in naval headquarters, and he will definitely occupy the admiral position in the future. It was great to be able to go on missions with him. Moreover, Lai Mu vice admiral had no airs at all. He took action when it was time to take action without any hesitation. Instead, he lit a few artillery pieces on his own naval side without doing anything, and he didn't even get a drop of water on his body. I think everyone will benefit from Wanokuni's mission. Lai Mu, who had disappeared on the deck, made everyone envious. What are you doing standing there in a daze? Cleaning, said a conductor. At this time, a sailor said quietly, Commander Haroda, do you think it is necessary for us to clean the battlefield? The dirty places are all on the sea. Our warships did not leave any traces. Ha 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 ha, ha 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 ha. After saying that, the soldiers on the entire warship burst into laughter. At the same time, inside the cabin, Tian Yushi had already quietly come outside Lai Mu's room. Boom, boom, boom. With a knock on the door, Shu asked her to come in. Mr. Mighty Swordsman, can I ask you a favor? Lai Mu moved a stool and asked Tian Yushi to sit down, thinking to herself, should she show her cards to him? Without saying anything, Lai Mu just took out the famous sword Thunderstorm from the side. This bloody sword had been completely tamed. Lai Mu was ready to take the initiative. This famous sword is named Thunderstorm because of CTEE. Judging from your posture and the marks on your palms, you are also a famous swordsman. I'll give it to you for self-defense. Tian Yu just sat down and heard Lai Mu's words. Somewhat confused, suddenly his face turned like a red apple. Following the tradition of Wanokuni 800 years ago. If a swordsman is willing to give his beloved famous sword to a woman, it means marry. So, he wants to marry Russia. Moreover, 800 years ago, the Tianyu family accepted the man's prophecy. The prophecy did say that as the princess of the Tianyu family, she would travel to Wanokuni 800 years later, get married and have children here, and finally stay in this time. So, is he my predicted emperor? Is he the man who allowed Wanokuni to found the country? Actually, Lai Mu himself is a great swordsman of the Edo style, and he doesn't need two famous swords at ordinary times. He felt that it would be inconvenient to carry it with him. And Momosugi also has the sword Kinpira, so there is no place to put it. So Lai Mu didn't go to deliver it. If you draw the great swordsman of the double sword style that day, you can definitely use Sakura Tukiku. Or, now Kamui has it all. Will there be too few artifacts like Zanpakuto? So, in an era where famous swords are everywhere, it was just right to give it to Tianyu, which solved one of his own troubles. If we get closer, we can find out some secrets. However, what is the performance of this third eye? I'm just blushing, but I don't know whether to answer it or not. Why, did I see it wrong? Are you not a swordsman? Are you don't like it? Lai Mu asked with some confusion. Tianyu said nervously. No, I'm not ready to accept this prophecy yet. Take it first if you're not ready. When Lai Mu heard the word prophecy, he immediately thought it was a good sign. He simply put the famous sword Leiyu into Tian Yangshi's hand. By the way, you just said you wanted to help. You can tell me anything. Under Lai Mu's stronghold, Tian Yushi thought for a long time and finally accepted the famous sword Leiyu. Lai Mu's swordsmanship was so superb that 800 years ago, he was a man of the hour in the entire Wanokuni, with all the daimyo vying to marry their daughters. Moreover, Lai Mu was also a very good character and was very willing to help others. Such a person, even if Princess Wanokuni is also willing to marry. And Tian Yushi traveled through time 800 years ago. Now she said she was helpless. Now that I have such a powerful man by my side, I feel safe and don't feel too wonderful. When a woman cannot make a decision, she often chooses to make the wrong decision. After all, what if they are a match? After thinking about it, Tian Yushi hesitated again and again, but still spoke directly. Mr. Lai Mu, do you believe in destiny? What is fate? It should be my fate, not my genius. Lai Mu remained calm and followed Tian Yushi's words. It's destined. I believe it, unswervingly. Tian Yushi came a little closer, and then said hesitantly, actually, I came from 800 years ago. 064. A wonderful night begins. 064. The wonderful night begins. At this moment, the night is already deep. The warship has experienced a moderate war and needs some rest. We can arrive at the mission location tomorrow. At this time, in Lai Mu's room. 800 years ago, Lai Mu pretended to be questioning. Yes, please believe me, I really came from 800 years ago. Well, I believe it. Faced with Lai Mu's determination, Tianyu was a little unbelievable. Mr. Lai Mu actually chose to believe such a bizarre thing about time travel. Such a refreshing plot made Tianyu a little confused. Then, Lai Mu started talking about it based on his own memory. This sea is very magical. In the river of history, there is a magical devil fruit, Paramesha time fruit. It is said that it can allow people with abilities to travel through time and space to the future. In fact, this fruit has not appeared for many years, but I think there are still abilities similar to the time fruit in the sea. So, although it sounds strange that you said it came from 800 years ago, I still believe it. When you hear the time fruit, isn't it your own devil fruit? The time fruit has been stored in the Tianyu family for at least 200 years. It seems to have been given some kind of mission. The family has issued a ban and no one can get involved. And when Tianyushi was born, it fell into her hands, because she was the one who carried the mission. At this moment, Tianyu was even more surprised when he heard Lai Mu's remarks about the fruit of time. It was as if his thoughts were guessed by the other party. Actually, I am the one with the ability of the time fruit. However, apart from traveling through time and space, I have no other abilities. If Mr. Lai Mu doesn't believe it, you can throw me into the sea, but please be sure to rescue me. I drank a lot of seawater yesterday. I almost died. Tianyu felt that his thinking was a little confused, but there was no way to demonstrate the power of the time fruit. The time fruit has a cooling time, so it is neither possible nor scientific to travel again. Ha 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 ha. No need to test, I really believe you. Thank you for telling me this secret, so if you need my help with anything, you can tell me and I can help you. Lai Mu became more and more interested at this moment. Tien Yushi hesitated for a while and felt that Lai Mu could be trusted, so he said so directly. I want you to help me found a country for Wanokuni. Founding of the country. The first time Lai Mu heard the word, founding the country, was in the later Wanokuni chapter. It is still far away from the current time period. Unexpectedly, after traveling 800 years, Tianyushi actually had the mission of letting Wanokuni found the country. In Joy Boy's prophecy, it is said that after 800 years, Wanokuni will be closed to the country. This will not be able to welcome the coming of the new world. Therefore, my mission when I traveled through time is to allow Wanokuni to open a country and welcome the future. To be precise, let me help you establish the Wanokuni country until Joey Boy appears. Quote. What Tianyushi did not explain was that he was also predicted to marry the man who helped Wanokuni found the country. At this time, Tianyu looked shy and waited quietly for Lai Mu's answer. On Lai Mu's side, when he heard about Joey Boy, he suddenly had doubts in his heart. It's Joey Boy again. Lai Mu feels that this time travel is completely off the mark. No matter what important role it is, whether it is Golden Lion or the current Tianyushi, there is always the word Joey Boy. And this time, even Joy Boy's prediction was used. Sure enough, in important roles, everyone carries their own mission and plays a role. This mission has extended for more than 800 years. Lai Mu naturally knows the outcome of Tianyushi. In the end, she didn't wait until Wanokuni founded the country, because Odin simply couldn't do it. In the end, she will burn out her life and place her hope on the future Luffy. But, it's hard to say now, after all Lai Mu is also a time traveler. Maybe we can really start the big era in advance. If Lai Mu really wants to intervene, Roger and others probably won't have a role to play. Lai Mu is going to take it one step at a time. Anyway, this will not affect anything. It is estimated that helping Wanokuni found the country will make his reputation in Wanokuni reach an unprecedented level. If he can do it smoothly, he can still consider it. However, Mu is not such a superficial person. It's that simple to let Wanokuni found the country. But it didn't affect Lai Mu's agreement at all. Now Wanokuni is being watched by Kaido's Beasts pirates, whose goal is to capture Wanokuni. So, I will help you solve this problem first. As for the founding of the country, we will discuss it based on the actual situation when we arrive at Wanokuni. However, I will definitely try my best to help you. Lai Mu has never wanted to join in the fun, not because he likes to join in the fun like an old lady. But he himself has awakened the attention system, and needs some lively occasions to harvest the attention value. After hearing Lai Mu's answer, Tianyu immediately showed joy. Very good. With the promise of a great swordsman like Master Lai Mu, I believe it will be possible. At this time, Tianyushi was very excited and held Lai Mu's hand repeatedly. These are the hands of a great swordsman. He actually let himself touch it like this. This is a hand that can cut off everything. Lai Mu, on the other hand, was a little moved by the sudden enthusiasm. But the more exaggerated thing is still behind. At this moment, Tianyushi half hid his face and said with a charming face, Master Lai Mu, the night is already deep, I will wait for you to rest tonight. According to general principles, Tianyu Toki is a young lady from a large family, similar to a little princess in ancient times. Her tutoring is very strict. The reason why she said such a word is entirely because of the fine traditions of Wanokuni. That is, women must learn 2 words, obey. Once you identify as a man, you must obey. Now that he has determined that Lai Mu is his predicted emperor. Then, Tianyushi took on the role immediately. Please give me flowers. Heroes love beauties. Beauties also admire heroes. At this moment, Lai Mu was a little confused. He never expected that things would develop like this. Just because she promised to help Tianyu open Wanokuni, she had to commit herself to her. This woman is too sassy. Lai Mu has never thought that he is a good person, and his eldest brother will starve to death easily if he is a gentleman. Such good things should come as much as you can. However, if you want to ask more clearly, you will give yourself the illusion that you are at a disadvantage. After all, it's hard to say who drove whose car. You mean. Master Lai Mu, do you want to reject me? Tianyu suddenly felt a little sad, but he was a little closer to Lai Mu. Before traveling through time, Tianyushi's mother warned her repeatedly that the happier things are, the more proactive she is. No matter what difficulties she encounters, one day, Wanokuni will shine through the entire sea because of Yugangshi's efforts. 0. Everything is worth it. For this reason, no bad behavior occurred before Tianyu Shibu found the prophecy of the emperor. As for Lai Mu, she also had a girlfriend in her previous life. However, although the looks of those girlfriends in the previous life were also very good, they were still very different from the beauties in the pirate world. It couldn't be compared to the fact, especially now that my body was so good, the feeling at that moment was completely different. Same. At this moment, Tian Yushi looked at Lai Mu expectantly, looking at him from head to toe. Who would have thought that this handsome and extraordinary man is not only the strongest swordsman in history, but also his own predicted emperor, and a great man who will help Wanokuni found the country. He is a being admired by thousands of people. Lai Mu took one look at Tian Yushi's beauty and felt that his head was a bit big. This look is just the word, surrender, written in the eyes. She shyly called Lai Mu, "Sir, it is also mentioned in the prophecy that the man who founded the country of Wanokuni is my rightful son. I believe that only you can bring me happiness in this life." My lord. At this moment, there was already a somewhat coquettish tone. When Lai Mu took a look, he really couldn't stand it. At this time, a reminder sounded in Lai Mu's mind. Ding. You received 300,000 attention points from Tianyu, the daughter of the Wanokuni Tianyu family. And with tenderness and sweetness, a new special attention value of 200,000 points was generated. When the special attention value reaches 1 million, the system mall will be opened and used to purchase the goods in it. Since it is your wish, it is also my wish. While helping others, you can also help yourself. Win-win. Nothing so good has ever happened in the world. You would be a fool to refuse again. What's more, Feng Wei is easy to talk to, so it's not easy to get information at your fingertips. To say the least, the sky and the moon are indeed extremely beautiful. Then, there is nothing to hesitate about. The wonderful night is about to begin. Point 065, it's hard for me. Which one of you is going to the right or left? 065, it's hard for me. Which of you is on the left or right? After one night, at dawn, in Lai Mu's Vice Admiral room, sunlight shines in through the only porthole, illuminating a warm scene. Tianyu opened her eyes and felt sweet in her heart. But when she got up, she found that Lai Mu was no longer around. At this moment, Lai Mu, dressed in warrior uniform, was already looking into the distance at the bow of the ship. A small island emerged. That's Wanokuni. At this time, Gion also came here in a kimono, looking beautiful and moving. When Gion didn't see the moon in the sky all night, he felt a little strange, but he didn't think much about it. Just looking at Wanokuni in front of him, he became a little worried. After all, there is a country of samurai ahead. I heard that hundreds of years ago, Ryoma slayed a flying dragon in Wanokuni and won the title of dragon-slaying samurai. The various samurai included in Wanokuni are all very powerful in combat. They are considered to be in the Grand Line, one of the countries with the highest combat power. Moreover, Wanokuni is extremely xenophobic and a dangerous place for strangers. Wanokuni is a special area, with no open sea coast and only cliffs and waterfalls around it. After going up there is the inland sea, which contains the main island of Wanokuni and Onigashima. The main island is divided into 6 areas, namely, Kuri, Nozomi, Menwan, Suzuo, Sun Dance, and Flower City. And the capital of Flowers is the place where I want to go to do 323, to gather information. Lai Mu, Wanokuni is ahead. According to the intelligence, we need to use Carp to log onto the island. Lai Mu waved his hand and said directly, "No, I can take you flying. When the time comes, the warship will stay down and find a safe place to dock, and the 3 of us can go up. One in each hand, hold them up. Beautiful. Most of the beauties in the pirate world are tall, but now that Lai Mu has acquired the physique of a steel giant, she is now 2.88 meters tall. Moreover, she can enlarge or shrink any part of her body, and it is very simple to take people off. Even if a beauty from the giant tribe comes, Lai Mu can still complete the flying task excellently." At this time, Tensuke also tidied up his kimono, put on a cute little pillow, and came to the bow of the boat. His face was full of sweetness. "This is my hometown Wanokuni. It hasn't changed at all." Quote. According to legend, the carps in Wanokuni have a very long lifespan and will not die for hundreds or thousands of years. Among the carps here, there will be special cases, and some will jump over the dragon gate and become flying dragons. Although 800 years have passed, Wanokuni has not changed much in the eyes of Tensuke. On the contrary, it is more cordial. Looking from the bow of the boat, you can already see the waterfall flowing down. I wonder if those carps will recognize me. Carp is an important means of transportation in Wanokuni and also belongs to the category of spiritual animals. I am looking forward to this even more every month. After hearing this, Gion looked surprised. Huh, really? Are there really dragons in the world? Tianyu thought for a while, glanced at Lai Mu, and then said with a hint of truth. According to the legend 800 years ago, there was a carp that had the potential to transform into a dragon. 400 years ago, it might have transformed into a dragon. Yeah, but I don't know what the specific situation is. Gion was also surprised when he heard this, and quickly said, "No way, haven't you heard about Wanokuni's dragon-slaying warrior Ryoma? He killed the flying dragon in the sky 400 years ago." Tianyu was a little disappointed. It turns out that Xiaolu is an evil dragon. Just like that, while the two were chatting, the huge warship had arrived under the waterfall. Gion has a mission, so it's not suitable for a high-profile trip to Wanokuni. Soon, all marine soldiers gathered on the deck of the warship, waiting for Mamosagi Rear Admiral's order. Rear Admiral, although the position in naval headquarters is not too high. However, Mamosagi is an intelligence agent, and his abilities have always been hidden. She is also the person in charge of this mission, so everyone is waiting for her orders. When we get to Wanokuni, you can find a safe place to listen and stay on standby near Wanokuni. If there is any problem, use the phone bug to contact us at any time. Yes, Momoshiki Rear Admiral, a sailor asked. Lai Mu Vice Admiral, do you have any instructions? No, just as Momoshiki Rear Admiral said, I have left my phone number. If you have any problems, you can call me. Maybe I will come over faster. Hearing what Lai Mu said, the marine soldiers were moved. There are no instructions on the surface. But just tell us, Lai Mu Vice Admiral will come to protect us. This is the promise of Vice Admiral. No, it should be the promise of future Admiral. With words like Lai Mu's, a kind of accompanying marine soldiers became more confident. At this moment, Guo Mu is like a patron saint. If you don't curry favor with such a person yourself, then who should you curry favor with? How can there be a superior in the world who cares so much about his subordinates? After arranging things, Lai Mu opened his hands directly and looked at Gion and Tianyu. It's hard for me. Which one of you is trying to sway me? This means to carry someone up. Momoshiki hesitated, but still stepped forward, not knowing what to choose for a moment. Tianyushi slept on the right side of Lai Mu yesterday. The whole night was wonderful, and she felt full of satisfaction and security. Today, Tianyushi had nothing to be shy about and went straight to the right. It feels really good. Suddenly, a group of 3 people, Gion and Tianyu, one on the left and one on the right, with Lai Mu in the middle, flew toward the sky. Call out, call out, call out, rumble, crash, the sound of the waterfall falling echoed throughout the area. On the warship, all the marine officers were speechless with envy on their faces. Let the water vapor from the waterfall wet your face, and you don't know how to wipe it. The only thing they could think of was, damn it, what kind of charm is this? Hug 2 at once, have you really thought about your brothers? How do you let a single person get along? At this time, Wanokuni. Sakura flowers are in full bloom, and when the wind blows, the pink sakura flowers carry romance, blowing the whole place with smiles. And on this island, everyone is completely immersed in revelry. At this moment, on Wanokuni Ghost Island, in a cave. There is a pirate group lurking, and this pirate clan is plotting against the entire Wanokuni, but it only occupies a ghost island. This is the temporary base of Kaido Beast's pirates. Because Wanokuni's samurai are so powerful, even Kaido needs resourcefulness and time to contribute. However, at this time, he was shocked by big news. What? That guy Jack was defeated. A man sat in the middle with an angry face. His black hair is disheveled, with a pair of long horns like dragon's horns on both sides of his forehead and above his ears. He has a long beard like a dragon's beard on his mouth. He has a dragon scale tattoo on his left arm. His upper body is naked and hanging on his waist. Wearing a purple top with 2 gold chains hanging from the hem, dark green wide trousers on the lower body, a rope tied around the waist, a purple fluffy cape, and a slender figure wearing leather pants, he looks like a devil, alive. Carry a wine gourd with the word Tien printed on it. There is also a mace standing next to it, named Baji Jai. This person would later become the 4 Emperors Kaido, and he is also one of the most threatening pirates currently. After all, he is from Rock's Pirate. Although the current Kaido fought several times with Kazuki Odin, he did not go to the extent of using all his strength. It was only after Odin abandoned the country and left that Kaido used his strength to capture Wanokuni in one fell swoop. After returning from the Roger Pirates, Odin left an X-shaped scar on Kaido. Yes, Lord Governor. The news I just sent is that although Mr. Jack is still alive, he was seriously injured and sank to the bottom of the sea. It took a lot of effort to rescue him. After all, Jack is too burly. At this time, a seaman the thief replied loudly. That's so embarrassing. Who did it? Whitebeard. No, Whitebeard is not here at Wanokuni. Could it be Charlotte Linlin? No, she will at least give me some thin noodles. No, according to Master Jack, it's a Marine Vice Admiral. Vice Admiral. Since when did Marine have such a powerful Vice Admiral? Is that B********* D Sengoku going to retire? It's the Lai Mu Vice Admiral of Naval Headquarters, the person who reported it in the newspapers. What? Kaido held a huge wine gourd and stood up suddenly, shaking a little. Kaido was deeply impressed by Lai Mu. After all, Lai Mu's name was already linked to that D Golden Lion Shiki. When he was in Rock's Pirate, Kaido was just an intern. At that time, I was bullied by Golden Lion. But forget about bullying. The key is that those bastards from Golden Lion are slanderous. Taking advantage of his great strength, Lousy claims to be his son. The situation at that time was comparable to that of Whitebeard now. At that time, Kaido and Charlotte Linlin, who later joined the pirate group, were naturally the victims. Unfortunately, they were young and not very strong at the time. The Golden Lion was still too powerful, and Kaido could not catch up no matter how hard he tried. Fortunately, Rock's Pirate was disbanded on the spot, and Kaido got a top-notch devil fruit, namely Zone Fish Fruit Phantom Beast species Blue Dragon form. Call Golden Lion over now to try it. Kaido is confident that with his coiled dragon, he must be strangled. 0.8 Unfortunately, Golden Lion seemed to be completely defeated and disappeared. It seems to be in the hands of Admiral of Headquarters alternate Lai Mu. Although Kaido was skeptical about this news, he just followed what the newspaper said. Let Laozi investigate clearly. If that kid named Lai Mu comes to Wanokuni, he will definitely let him taste the power of my 8 trigrams thunder. Oh, wow, 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 wow. Laozi is much better than that B*********** D golden lion. Kaido lifted the mace and put it on his shoulder, standing upright unsteadily. At this time, a sense of oppression suddenly emerged. At that moment, all the members of the Kaido pirates present retreated. Governor Kaido, please don't be angry. Mr. Governor, we are going to investigate right away and we must find that guy. The next second, Kaido felt a little confused, and Bajijai lost his strength and fell directly to the ground. Boom, rumble. In one fell swoop, a big hole was made in the ground, and rocks flew up. In an instant, the entire cave began to sway with falling rocks. The pirates of the beast's pirates fled in fear. Snoring. What was unexpected was that Kaido actually fell down at this time, blushing and fell asleep regardless. 066. Wanokuni, Kazuki Odin. 066. Wanokuni, Kazuki Odin. At the same time, Marineford Naval Headquarters Sengoku office. Put the phone bug down. Sengoku looked directly at the sea in the distance. That guy Zephyr is already a second-tier teacher. Now, the only people around Sengoku who can talk are Garp and Commander Crane. Just now, Sengoku heard the briefing from the Momoshiki warship, with a look of shock on his face. At this time, Sengoku's call just now was heard by Garp and Staff He. Just like Sengoku showed just now, they also had incredible expressions on their faces. Although the Mammoth Jack is not yet ready to let Marine use his highest combat power, it does not mean that Jack is easy to deal with. Marine's information will not be falsified. They know that Jack is a monster on the sea. The skin is extremely thick, and he is a fish-human race, so his physique is not comparable to that of the human race. So, Lai Mu is the monster. Crane Vice Admiral opened his eyes and spoke with a smile, and then added, in my opinion, Lai Mu didn't intend to inquire about the information, otherwise he wouldn't have caused trouble as soon as he arrived at Wanokuni and sank Jack to the bottom of the sea. Instead of telling Kaido, is there someone from our marine? Until it is completely confirmed, it does not mean that Lai Mu Mission 15 has failed. Sengoku and he have been partners for many years, and they know what he is worried about. Besides, according to the fact that both Lai Mu and Zephyr can fight back and forth, that boy is definitely not simple. I can rest assured about his strength. Even against Kaido. Finally, Sengoku looked at Garp. This guy has made people very angry these days. For no other reason, he actually let Delog go. He also said in a high-sounding way that Garp himself had a fight with Dorag in order to stop him, and was defeated. Who would believe such a thing? If Garp really wants to fight, there will be basically no opponent in Marine. He is a monster among monsters. Are you looking at me? It's Dorag's thing again. I said Sengoku, don't you understand me? I really can't stop that kid. Garp turned a blind eye and said after finishing, I took a bite of the senbei and it made a crunching sound. After eating the senbei, Garp burst out laughing again. This boy Dorag is indeed my son. I saw Garp looking careless. Sengoku was also very angry. He knows that Dorag's high-end combat power is not necessarily weaker than Akainu Sakazuki. After all, he is the son of a monster. However, fortunately, a Lai Mu emerged from naval headquarters, and his strength is obvious to all. According to Lai Mu's personality, he is still very lovable and his strength is so strong. Since Dorag is unreliable, he can only place his future hopes on this kid. At this time, in Wanokuni, Tianyu was very excited looking at the dancing sakura flowers. Wanokuni must have changed a lot after 800 years, but you won't feel very strange when you see various samurai walking on the street with swords in their hands. Lai Mu, I'm going to carry out the mission first. If you have any questions, you can call me at any time. Gion, who was dressed in a kimono, left after explaining. At this time, only Lai Mu and Tianyu Shi were left on the street. There were all kinds of warriors around, and there were constant shouts on the street. At this time, Tianyu hesitated for a moment, then pulled Lai Mu and said, Sir, I noticed that Miss Janao also likes you. Lame, who has a rich love history, naturally knows about this matter. But, what about feelings? It depends on the person. Lai Mu knew in his heart that after finally coming to the pirate world and being a time traveler, he would most likely want a few more in the future. But what if people are disgusted with these things? Therefore, Lai Mu has never expressed anything about Gion. People are different and everything should come naturally. At this time, Lai Mu said quietly, aren't you jealous? Ah, jealous, I haven't had sushi in a long time. Lai Mu was speechless for Tianyushi's answer. However, he still dragged her to a sushi restaurant and let her experience Wanokuni cuisine for plus $800 years later. After eating, Lai Mu also has to separate from Tianyushi. Tianyu is going to visit the Tianyu family. Originally Lai Mu was worried. But, after Tianyu explained the situation, he was immediately released. Don't worry, Mr. Lai Mu, our family has left an ancestral precept passed down from generation to generation as early as 800 years ago, saying that I will appear in the future, so even if I time travel, the descendants of the family will not be surprised, no there will be problems. Okay, if you have any questions, you can contact me at any time. Fortunately, I have a lot of phone bugs with me. It saves you a lot of worries. At this time, just when the two were preparing to separate. A tall man with red phoenix eyes and thick eyebrows. He has long and wild black hair, especially the top that gathers into a large circular plane. He is wearing an orange kimono with his legs exposed and a crescent moon pattern on the clothes. The samurai with 2 swords at his waist walked over in a swaggering manner. When this person saw the sky and the moon, he immediately became excited. There are many beauties in Wanokuni, but Tianyu is the most beautiful one he has ever seen. It seems that this person is very carefree and has no scruples in public. Immediately, he walked over with some swaying swagger. However, after 370, a somewhat drunk Kazuki Odin laughed and praised directly, "This woman is so beautiful. She is so beautiful." Hearing this, Lai Mu knew that it was aimed at Tianyu Shi. He also frowned immediately. After all, Tianyu Shi is also his own woman, and she has given her the first time, so she must protect her. Lai Mu wanted to teach him a lesson. But after seeing the appearance of the visitor, Lai Mu suddenly wanted to laugh. Doesn't this look like Kazuki Odin's damaged body? The sea seems to have put a curse on everyone. As long as there is some reason, they will abandon their family and abandon their children and go to the sea. Just like Kazuki Odin, he didn't even want Wanokuni, he abandoned his country and had to go find some big secret treasure with Roger. The results of it, Wanokuni was dismantled by Kaido. After I came back, it was already too late to open the country. In the end, he ended up in a frying pan. Hero. It's just a name for a fool. At this time, seeing Kazuki Odin coming towards him with a red face and a bit aggressive, Tianyu suddenly thought of those drunk samurai who like to fight on the streets. Unexpectedly, for 800 years, the street culture of samurai has not changed at all. Such people are so disgusting. At that moment, Tianyu Shi approached Lai Mu closely and said, "Sir, let's leave here."